Live in a moment. Ba-ba-ba-bum. For those wondering what's going on, why I'm not joining them as of yet, you'll know here in a second. I'm currently setting things up real quick in the background. I will be joining them in a moment. I don't think they'll panic too much. Hopefully not, at least. Okay, so I need that open. Give me a moment, guys. Okay. And after this, I will go for a walk. Alright. So let me get some stuff opened up and ready to go. I also have to quickly adjust Twitch. And then I'll jump into the Discord call with all of them. I also have to quickly adjust Twitch. Let me not have that repeat itself for you guys. Sorry about that. Forgot I had voice up. Oh, well, actually, that works. Let me, though, go into Video Producer. Go to Extensions. My Extensions. Do, 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 do. Alright. And you guys can see your character stuff. I wonder why they're level 10. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I said that.
oi,
4:02
oi,
p.m. Like
oi
when
to
I
the
Okay.
new,
just woke up today.
oi to the new
Oh God.
assholes.
Howdy.
No,
Hello.
no, not you, not you, Cyrus. I'm talking about Maya's character and Jacob's character. You guys didn't level till past level 9. Trent never updated his character sheet,
Okay, let me knock down once, then I
so
guess.
please update that and fix it.
Okay, that's kind of.
God damn it, Trent.
Place sad.
Cat, why are you trying to shove me out of my own chair?
Cat, hurry up and kill him. I paid you $20 for this.
Well, hold on.
Divus,
Is
cat-
Ken
do it.
even playing in Rejected Potential anymore?
Huh?
Is Chen even playing in Rejected Potential?
Yes.
He's in and out.
He may not be here today because he's got the CMAA test on Monday that he is taking and he is studying for. So,
Go, Trent.
yeah. So, this is that nursing test that will get him in basically a nursing job in which they'll pay for his college to get his nursing degree. So, he has full excuse not to show up to this session. Just
And
to
if
make
he
that
does
very
show up,
clear.
are you gonna attack him for it?
Oh, yeah. Because we also canceled last night's session for the for Wolf's group, because we wanted to make sure Trent's got time and studied. So instead, I spent my evening killing the Pope, well, multiple popes.
I heard you were taking over Britain.
Yeah, I took over Britannia. I seduced half of my vassals' wives, killed the other half, lost a civil war, killed everyone who had a hook on me, basically meaning I owed them a favor. And then I invaded the Vikings and got my ass kicked. Oh, I also
First, you
invaded
can't ever.
Jerusalem, but we failed at that as well.
Well, okay, that's the sad part. Getting
No,
your ass kicked by Vikings is fine. Getting your ass kicked by math geeks is a little worse.
no, Jerusalem was being held. Was being held by the Muslims, and unfortunately, right as we started the crusade, the Swedish Vikings under Bjorn's grandson switched religions and joined, and so that ended another like 10k troops, and yeah. So Wolf got to listen to me as I was trying to not only fuck most of my vassals' wives, but also as I was getting my ass kicked left and right.
I will have
Can
all
I
of the heirs and none of the army. That was
Mhm.
what your thinking was.
Mhm.
can I argue my point on something real quick?
That depends. Is it gonna give me a headache?
I I would
Probably.
hope not.
Okay then.
Um, Chen said that he is accepting experience,
Yes,
and that would level him up to 10.
it would.
I get he's been busy, but wouldn't that mean that Tikva and I would still get the level?
Wouldn't it also mean that your character wasn't level 11?
My character was almost level 11.
Fenrir is listed as level 11.
Wait, why?
I don't know. That's what I'm giving you shit for.
I'll check it real
Misclick.
quick. Counts as both of me.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Someone
the.
dundedly screwed up.
There it
Um,
goes.
We told you
It
no
just updated.
steroids.
I was gonna say it shouldn't be 11.
I just hit refresh. No, the reason I'm doing that is to keep the party, and if Trent isn't here by next session, then I will count Kips as a temp character, which means that the lowest party member will be of anybody other than Kips.
Which I think is me.
hmm I would have
Yeah.
also done it to for E2, but then that would have, that would have been a little harder for the party.
It2's what, level 7?
Yep.
Yeah.
But you're level 10.
I'm like 1600 from
We would have had to
11.
go on a quest
Nice.
to kill it too, just so we could level properly.
Good luck. E2's gone off into the to the
Can't even-
world.
Yeah. Can't even find her.
And to let you guys know, so this session today will be going till 6 o'clock my time, which for those wondering is about 3 hours. The reason why is I'm going to be starting movie night at 7, and I need a chance to run down to Fred so I can go pick up a sandwich for dinner. So,
Okay. I have my
Yeah.
HP set at 1 because you said I was alive. I'm just going to say I'm not conscious at 1 for right
oh yeah,
now.
your Malthor's still alive, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's
there-
why I was just
yeah.
reminding you because... And I do need to talk to you about possibly switching around my oath later, reworking the character, because I realized I fucked up.
Okay.
But oh well.
Yeah, you can PM me about it and we can chat about it. Oh man,
But all it
At
is
that moment,
hate-
he knew
I've-
he fucked up.
that was me packing this morning.
I've realized that
no.
Oath of Ancients does not... I mean, not Oath of Devotion does not work with the build I'm trying to go for. Oath of Ancients would work better, but
Aren't you an oath breaker?
well, depends on if me failing to protect Zaya would technically break my oath.
Look at
That-
this.
Maya,
I haven't
you
played
called
Tikva
it.
yet.
God
I
damn it,
called
Maya.
it. I told you the names would mix everyone up because you have Zaya, Tikva, and also Maya. Oh, the Holy Trinity.
The Ayas.
Yep.
I
The-
literally already am used to calling you Tikva.
No, I mean it just
I'm not
it was
gonna get
expected
used
to be
calling you
happen.
Fenrir.
Because either way, even if I am Oathbreaker, meaning that I don't have access to my paladin spells, I still have my cleric stuff because
Yep.
that didn't affect.
That is correct.
So I can just go and pray to myself, pray to Normac, and be at the forge for the next 3 weeks.
that's fair.
What if you
That's
just
true.
become a god and become a paladin of yourself and get your magic back
That
way?
actually was
That's what Royce
possible
does.
in 3.5 at one
Darn.
point. But it's no longer, which is sad.
Darn.
In 5th edition, though, you do not have to technically swear fetality to any god. You
Fealty.
can just take the oath. I am bad
Fatality.
at words.
It is a
Darn.
fatality in my world, yeah. To serve any
Yeah.
god is pretty accurate.
No, yeah, Cyrus, have fun with your dragon, dude.
But with the 5th edition, you just need to take the oath, and you're a paladin. Whatever gods are in that alignment for the oath you took, you get power from. Have fun. Doesn't have to
Yeah.
be any specific one.
That's why I don't like 5e's religious points. But then again, I also don't like their alignment rules. I was a big fan of 3.5's alignment, although it did kind of break a lot of characters. So
The reason I like 3.5 I like 3.5's leveling system specifically for fighters and wizards
yeah,
or sorcerers.
Rangers were also very good
Cyrus
back
is
then.
both.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I liked it for that because
still
at this
died.
point Cyrus could have been in 3.5. Cyrus could have had a familiar and had more points in a lot more things.
Yes, but he's also only took the fighter because of his character's backstory.
Yeah.
It wasn't a like, oh, I'm multi-classing to make or to min max.
I
Oh,
took
I
it
know.
partly for the AC and partly for the
The
For the-
AC.
That
Yeah.
was smart.
for the backstory.
Little
'cause-
min-max.
Yeah, it's like a minor min max.
Realized
minor?
this. Heard the story about what happened with a lot of my previous wizard players. Realized that it'd probably be a good idea to min max into fighter to get that
One of
AC.
which
Right.
is alive and no longer a wizard, so that's fun.
Yeah, there's also one who got his head chopped off within the first session by a lich.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That was way back when I was still. That was right when Fraz, Wolf, or it was before Wolf joined. It was Fraz, Basil, and Cameron. I think was the other person. And the
Nope, I
fucking
Wow,
wasn't there. That
Cameron,
was
you're
Tren.
old,
that's right.
old.
Yeah.
I
Anyways,
came in after Welf did.
That's
after-
right.
But I remember hearing about that because you
That's
told
right.
me, don't be a wizard unless you expect to die.
Yeah, cause dude,
I
well,
wish I got that advice.
the dude was so annoying, and that was the problem. He would not stop bothering me about like really stupid things that just kind of broke everything, and he kept pestering me when I'd say no. It's like, oh my god. So I
Yeah.
finally kicked him out of the session, and just said, I'm done with you. I'm not. And yep, he then he wouldn't stop bugging me
But-
for like 3 weeks after that, trying to ask if he could join again. And I'm like, nope, I chopped your
Are
character's
we
head
there
off.
yet? Are we there yet?
Yeah.
Like that?
I would also like to make a point of DM did not warn me he was prejudiced against Dragonborn.
No, but the
and he's
party
still-
warned you.
I mean, Tren kind of warned me. He was like, "You don't want to be Dragonborn." I am, and it fucking sucks. I'm like, but it's my character concept.
Mm-hmm.
Well, challenge is always fun.
Yep. Like moving.
Hey,
There's a challenge.
I like to make the point
Be right
that
back.
at least
Okay.
Torin survived the entire campaign, basically, until he pretty much said "fuck you" to the highest god.
Yeah, yeah. That was a really
I
dumb
take pride
mistake.
in that.
Does
Also,
that mean he technically died to his own actions and not
Yes.
to anyone else's?
oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
He went out when you
Um,
chose to.
Well, to be fair, the only person who chose their
suicide.
fate was Fraz's character Logger, who chose to kill himself. Whereas
I mean-
Torin was, I want to be an idiot, and I'm gonna try and fuck with the most powerful being in the world that's known. And yeah,
He was just sick of gods at that point. He was like, "I'm not taking the place of
No,
one, and
that's
I'm
a
not
shared
being
sentiment in
reincarnated."
this party.
that's a shared sentiment
It
in
was
most of
just-
my games.
It was just fuck this. It's either both or nothing. I either take the place and then get reincarnated and rise later, or
Mm-hmm.
I get smited here and now. I don't give a shit.
Listen, there's a rule in the worlds I make, and I make the gods realistic. I don't like the concept of D&D gods because I think, while I like fantasy and all that, I think that D&D, at least in the newer generations, always made their gods very frilly and pretty and fluffy and good, and I don't like
This
that.
is why I like making blacksmith gods, because one reason. They don't give a shit about anything. They just like make baking things. Making
Yeah.
things and then selling them.
Well, I
To
mean, the
either side,
Greeks,
really.
the Romans, the fucking Persians. There's a lot of religions that would argue with you on that one.
Hmm.
So,
I
because
don't disagree with that, but I also don't agree with this.
most smithing gods, in most religions that had a multiple gods in their pantheon, yeah, they were still just as bad.
Oh,
They
they were
get
still
screwed
bad, but I'm
over.
making.
Like, what's the Greek god? Hemescus? Or is that
No,
his name?
Hemescus is
the...
mine, I believe.
well,
Yes,
there's, like,
that
a
was the hammer
tinkering-
Hemescus.
Oh, well, there's like a tinkering god there who basically got screwed over.
The father of
Hephaestus?
Pandora,
'Cause he's
yes.
ugly.
Hephaestus or Hephaestus?
Yeah.
Hephaestus,
yeah.
the father of Pandora, and the smith of the gods, the one who was
The
forged
Greek gods
Zeus's
are like,
lightning
you're too
bolt.
ugly. Go away.
Hmm. Yep.
That's realistic
Yeah, and
to high
he
school.
became better and became a titan technically towards them because
Mhm.
of that.
He was He was well respected, even though he was
Mhm.
considered, yes, very ugly. But he
Hey,
was also one of the
Better
most well
ugly and
worshipped.
skilled. Better ugly and skilled than beautiful and stupid.
That's true. And who
Looks at
said?
my
Wait,
old character.
you said who? Pandora was his child? You're.
Yeah,
No,
I didn't
no.
think that
Depending
was
on
right
the
either.
stories you read.
Pandora was not his child.
Pandora's a
Pandora.
box.
No.
I know that's
Maya.
incorrect. I know that's
no,
incorrect.
Maya, no, that's not even a joke. No.
Let's see how we rolling tonight. Let's go and let's check this.
I can't pretend to be stupid for one night.
Let's see
You got to pretend to be stupid last night when you played Ember.
how we rolling.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, that was really fun.
That works.
Yeah, and I'll let you know what's gonna happen. 2 hours of the session got lost because the recording software did not work properly.
Darn. As long as I can hear my ear grating, just voice.
How does 70 points of poison damage sound tonight?
Please no. I'm very much hurt.
You know what? Some why after fucking Jacob called me fat the other day. I still haven't
I'm
forgotten
not
that.
fat.
Fuck you. I don't want to hear that from you because you said the same shit.
No, I didn't.
I'm gonna end both of you. I promise.
Cyrus, I guess it'll be another solo session soon, but with a lot less romantic tension because
I still
Tikva
really
has
have
no
to go.
interest.
My cat's trying to jump out a window. Bye.
Oh, don't worry.
Bye.
I'll kill
My
Malthor while
cat's
you're
tried
gone.
to kill me. My cat suddenly is black and has a red eye and has a knife. I gotta go.
Yeah, DM, you're extremely fit.
I like
Don't
you.
do that. You're just gonna get us both killed faster.
No,
He still thinks I called him fat. I never did.
You did, motherfucker! I have it on recording!
No, I didn't.
I was sitting in the room listening! Wolf even was there in the chat! And then fucking Jacob comes in and calls me fucking fat while I'm sitting there with Fuka after Fuka insults him, and instead of insulting Fuka back, he insults me! I'm just sitting there like, oh, hey, I'm packing shit, and then I get called fucking fat. I'm like, what the fuck did I do?
You're packing hate right now. That's what you're packing.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm still very salty about that.
Jacob's silence tells me he regrets life.
I accept being called fat when I'm like working out and shit. You know, I get it. But motherfucker, I can still outrun most of you. I still do a mile in 6 minutes flat, so I don't want to hear it.
I
God damn.
acknowledge I am unfit. Very much so.
Oh god. Which, speaking of which, I should order myself. No, I'll just walk to Fred's and get myself a sandwich. I think that'll be healthier because I need a couple mile walks apparently. Apparently, according to both fucking Jacob and Cameron.
No, you don't. You're fine. I swear.
Listen, body shape doesn't necessarily mean how athletic
I'm
you
just gonna
are.
drown myself in sorrow and Tic Tacs.
No, I have
I didn't tell
15%.
you that. That's the last I'm leaving of it.
I'm 15% body fat. I did actually have that checked when I went to the doctors, because I've increased my fat percentage pretty high. But that's because I got candy corn, or I've been eating like 2 bags of candy corn throughout the last few weeks. So actually, right now I am extremely bloated and fat, and I'm okay with that. But I'm still giving Jacob shit because he just called me fat for no fucking
To be
reason.
fair, anyone's fatter than Jacob. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
Twig boy.
No.
I was not calling you fat.
Jacob, the reason I give you shit for this is because legitimately I did nothing and then you insult me. Like, Fuka insulted you. I was just sitting there.
You're the DM. He must.
Oh no, I respect him for having the balls to call me that 100%, but fuck you. Like,
I called you Wario, not fat.
Wario's a fat bastard. That's his whole
I
stick.
haven't seen the asshole in ages. I don't even remember what he looks like.
Oh,
Sorry.
fuck you. Bullshit.
No, I'm
Were
dead
you
serious.
calling him your brother then because you're Waluigi? Is
It
that where we're
was,
going with this?
Like,
No.
the
Fuka
only thing I could think of on a fucking.
That was bullshit. I couldn't believe that. I was like, Fuka called you that. What the fuck did I
Fuka,
do?
like Toad or something because he's so short.
Yeah,
like,
he
you could
did.
have gone that route.
It did.
Yeah, he did after
did.
Fuka mentioned it. And I'm like, fucking goddamn it. I'm sitting here doing nothing.
I didn't get to join
Wario's
until after
also,
the fact.
I should point this out. Wario is also one of the richest people in the Mushroom
He's
Kingdom.
also known for 2 things, being extremely fat and blowing gas. So, no, fuck you,
Well, he
alright?
eats a lot of garlic. That's why he blows the gas.
Cheese.
Yeah, that's like his whole character storyline is he blows gas like no other, and that's like half of his attacks.
To be fair, isn't he supposed to be like a villain? I
Yeah.
don't think he's supposed to be liked.
Well,
Yeah.
he's
No, he's an anti-hero.
Yeah, because he is actually a hero in his own games, but he isn't exactly. If you compare him to like Mario and Mario's story, if you will call it that, yeah, he's considered an anti-hero.
Rip Luigi.
I will
always
say this: he at
forgotten.
least treats his brother better than Mario treats Luigi.
I mean, Luigi's rich and has a mansion. Meanwhile, Mario's constantly
And a
having
hotel.
to, conquer castles just to get a girlfriend.
Suspiciously save a princess from the same lizard dude over and over again.
Actually, to be fair,
Hmm.
Mario's original bride wasn't Peach; it was Daisy.
Was
And then
supposed to be nope, wasn't even Daisy. Rosalina.
no,
Not Rosalina.
Rosalina's supposed to be his kid. I thought.
No,
Uh,
Rosalina is not his kid.
All I know is I remember the
makes-
original Mario games, and I can say this as
Had a
someone who's
woman in a red
old.
dress.
What? No, it wasn't a woman in a red dress. That wasn't Mario. That was Jumping Man, or Jumpman,
Oh, that was
which is
Jumpman,
different.
Mario's dad.
And even in that was
Mario
Princess
Jumpman.
Peach. Because they do mention her name. I'm talking about in the original Mario games, not Jumpman. It was a brown-haired princess, which is supposed to be Daisy. So
Well, his brother got Daisy, so.
actually,
No,
that was never
his brother got
confirmed.
both of them.
Yeah, there was no confirmation.
Luigi's the one that's betted them both. Mario's just out there
Poor bastard.
fixing the pipes.
Mario's doing suspicious things to Goombas.
No
Goombas
comment.
and piranha plants.
Oh God.
No comment. I'm gonna go take a leak before I start this. Cyrus, feel free to turn in on this and join the conversation while I'm gone.
Cyrus, what do you think of Sans?
What?
Sans.
Sands? Oh. Yeah.
I can't believe you
Have
didn't
you
know
made
what
your
Sans
opinion upon
was.
him?
He's become
No.
such a big internet meme. Like not even just like the
Never
gamer
even
journey
heard of him.
itself.
The
He's
game
like
or
such
him.
a big meme. How?
I can see why I didn't know about him because that game looks like I should never play it.
Oh, it's a really good game actually.
Did you
I
Google
can say this.
tail like an animal tail?
Yes. It gave me
That's the
basically the
wrong
same
one.
game.
That's
You
the
fucked
wrong
it
No.
up.
one.
No, because I tried both. It basically gave me the same results.
Well, that's on the people and not the game itself. The game's
No,
pretty
the game is really
wholesome
good.
if it's a bit meta and has a darker tone. That's just people being horny, which happens in any fandom, let's be honest.
No, from watching at least his fight, I was like, no, that game wouldn't
Well,
never
Well,
need
you
to be
don't
there is
played
a
by me.
always
passive
get that
route you can
route.
do.
Yeah. And
That
then he's your
is-
friend.
If you do the passive route, there is a fight that it can be categorized as a little bit harder, but
What?
honestly, the rhythm helps.
Sans?
Undertale,
Oh God.
Yep.
Yeah, we told Cyrus about him being basically Sans because he has one blue eye and he's gonna like murderize everyone for killing Saya. But then he's like, I don't know what Sans is, and then he googled the wrong Undertale, tail like the animal tail, which I don't know if you know what that is, DM, but it's
It's a dick.
not good.
Yeah.
it's not
yeah,
safe for
rule
work.
34.
Mm-hmm.
No, I found the
Or
right
go
thing, but
post.
yeah, I don't see the draw.
Evil skeleton sings a lot of music. Seems about accurate.
And a very horribly written game. From
Thank
what I saw just on
you!
the boss fight.
Thank you.
Yes.
Undertale is terribly written. It's so boring. I mean, I appreciate the
It was-
art, the game designer who put his work into it, but as I think it was made by one person. I respect that. It turned out
Nope.
well for a. Wait,
It
no.
was not made by one person. The idea was constructed by Toby Fox, who did the Earthbound, the Halloween hack for Earthbound,
Ugh.
because he wanted a game that could be beat in under 6 hours, because he didn't have the attention span to sit there and go for a longer game session.
Well, Earthbound was a disgusting game series. I'm gonna be honest. I found them boring as all hell. By the way, for those who are looking at the background in my picture right now, apologies for the mess. There's boxes everywhere. I am still in the process, and I'm gonna say this as much as I can because I'm still getting through this whole thing. So, I'm very upset because I packed up my N64 today, and so no more
Oh no.
Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's a very sad day. I also put away my DVD player, which I just realized was a dumb idea because I just bought a new DVD and I was gonna watch it, and I've still got 3 weeks to move, and I don't want to have to hook it back up. So I'm like, fuck it. So,
Well, can't your computer play it?
Time
Nope.
to pirate online.
I mean, I could watch it online, but I bought the legitimate copy so I could watch it. It was that movie I was telling you guys about yesterday. So, but instead, I'll be watching The King tonight at 7 o'clock. Hopefully, as long as I'm
Let
on
us try to
time.
make- Yeah. I mean, if you're late, no worries. I'm gonna try to make stovetop popcorn for the occasion, so hopefully
Oh,
I don't
no.
die.
Maya,
What?
Maya, you are not ready for that.
Listen, if I get assaulted by popcorn kernels at like 100 degrees, it's fine.
Oh no! It's not the popcorn kernels you got to worry about. It's the oil.
Yeah,
I've
don't do it
I've done
shirtless.
deep fried stuff. I
That's
It's
my
the same
have
thing
the
advice.
when you cook
privilege of
meat in a
being
skillet.
shirtless.
You pretty much gotta play dodge the oil.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that Maya's probably not gonna be cooking shirtless.
You never know. Hey, man, I respect all people. Every time I cook something that has oil in it, I don't know why, but it's always when I'm shirtless and I have to do laundry that day. So,
Thank
Don't
you.
you admit to being a masochist? So.
oh
I
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised.
I actually do enjoy pain slightly, but not in the same, not in a sexual
Not
way.
oil pain.
No,
Like
oil pain I don't
Marco
mind. It just
Munasana.
fucking hurts. There's nothing worse than when you're sitting there cooking up like some chicken or something like that, or frying it, and fucking a splash of it hits your chest. And it's like, oh fucking hell, that's worst. Mm-mm.
To be
Nope.
fair, I've burnt myself enough in the past that before I was too afraid to cook, so it's fine.
It's fair enough. I honestly
Did I
prefer
tell
using
the
a
story
crock
about
pot.
lighting myself on fire as a child?
I heard this
Remember?
story quite a few times.
No.
God
What
damn it.
happened was I was young. I don't even know how old I was. 4 to 6. I was a stupid child, and we were with my sister's dad for 4th of July, hanging out
Mhm.
because he still would sometimes have us for a day or two back then.
Mhm.
He's stupid. Okay, he doesn't know how to raise children. He gives me 2 sparklers, and I'm in those stupid frilly dresses people force into their daughters, you know the kind. I'm like, ooh, what if I made a bigger sparkler? I put the 2 sparklers together, caught myself on fire. Mom had to pat me out and put me out with a water bottle.
Let's also not forget you've caught your hair on fire.
Yeah. I'm not good with fire, so I don't. The fact that I'm playing a
You're
fire
you're,
sorcerer
you're never
cabal should
allowed
be
to go
concerning.
camping. If we ever go
I'm
camping,
gonna
you're
go
never allowed to go
camping.
near
You
the
cannot
campfire.
stop me. I will
You're
go
not
by the
allowed near the
campfire. You can't
campfire.
stop me.
You
You
wanna-
can't
You're not allowed
control
to cook.
me.
You're not allowed to cook over the campfire. How's that?
I'll
Mis-
cook over the campfire if I want to.
Mr. Clubfoot,
Marco.
I don't imagine you being able to hold her back.
You've done stupid stuff with fires as well, so I don't think you have the right to judge, Cameron. What's that one thing you
Oh.
did where you like put the thing in your hand and then lit it on fire for fun?
Oh no! That wasn't fire. That was a model rocket engine. That's slightly
No,
worse.
you like put something in your hand. I think it was dish soap or something, and then like lit that on fire.
Oh, you
in
mean
your hand.
the bubbles that actually burn that don't hurt people, that are
You know, you
safe.
still could have been stupid enough. You had a
No,
lighter.
the only
That's all
time
that
I've gotten
counts.
the only time I've gotten burned by something on my hands that badly was when I set off a model rocket engine inside.
Yeah. Hey, listen, my excuse was I was a little kid when I did the sparkler thing. What's your excuse?
My excuse was extreme curiosity on how well it would burn off and if I could make it fly without a rocket on it.
I think you
Answer to
shouldn't be
both
trusted.
questions. Answer to both questions. Burns pretty well if you set it off properly. And answer the second question, not really.
Sorry, what? Captain, are you
Having a
pouring?
gift battle.
Huh?
Are you pouring?
Yeah.
All right, let's go get a bottle.
Fucking bet.
We're
Be right
having a
back.
gift battle again. Captain,
No?
don't be drunk during D&D.
Yeah, that is a rule. You can't drink during
I'm
D&D.
kidding. It was a joke.
Afterwards, I
Chill,
don't care.
During the
I
movie
do
night.
have a new soda though.
So-
I'm gonna grab that.
My little sister admitted to liking beer earlier. She likes IPAs, and I'm sorry, but I've never been more disgusted with a human being. I'm sorry if you're a big fan of beer, but if you are, you have terrible taste in alcohol.
I don't really care for beer.
I'm looking
Drink
at
some
you over there,
lights.
I wouldn't
Cyrus.
know.
No, I drink some lights, but it's
Ugh.
more that I can't stand heavier stuff. Most of the time, I do not drink beer. It's
Okay.
more of if I don't have another choice, then I drink lights.
Yeah, I can't. I
The
don't know how
only
you can do
type
beer,
of
man.
beer I'll drink is Seagrams, and it's the ones that are always that people always call the wine coolers. They're technically
Seagram?
beer.
I mean, I only know. I've never heard of them doing like beer. I've heard of like their hard
Well,
cider.
they're wine coolers.
Uh-huh.
They're strawberry daiquiri things. Those are technically on the back. They even say that they're technically beer.
It's a malt, not a.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
nope. I can't do beer. It tastes like dirty water. And Maya, do yourself a
took a sip
favor.
of beer
Don't
and I was
drink.
like,
I'm good.
Don't ever drink.
If you do
It's
drink,
bad.
if you
Good.
don't drink, but if you do it among friends.
No.
No, they
I'm
like to
good.
draw dicks on your forehead when you're passed out.
Yeah, Cameron, I don't trust you. I don't trust you,
Oh,
Tristan.
not trusting my older brother, that's fine. But if you are ever around when
Hello.
I still have a half
Hi.
bottle of Captain Morgan
I'm
and some
back.
berry wine in my freaking cupboard here.
I actually
Ooh,
just
this is
poured
good.
out the last of my meads. I have one carboy left, and that's going to Wolf, but the rest was cleaned out because it was bad. I will be starting fresh batches next summer, so look forward to
Nice.
that.
Well, I told you to send me some of that. I could use some weed killer.
Yeah, no, I did it did kill one of my plants though.
Oh
It
no.
accidentally splashed into my college seeds a little bit, and I think it killed something. Either that or the sunflower strangled them to death. I'm not sure. They gave us a
Or
bunch of
both.
wild seeds, and I potted them all in
Oh.
one, and yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
Mhm.
it could have been both.
Could have
This
been.
is really good.
You got the plant drunk and then the sunflower strangled it, seeing its opponent weakened.
Yeah, this could be the case. We'll see.
Plants versus plants.
Mhm. I'm
Now it
actually
just has to come back as a zombie.
So with one of the things about moving, I'm looking forward to. So I've actually been talking with Wolf. What I'm gonna do. So I'm planning to do or to get the everyone for Yule minus Fuka because Fuka is already getting his Yule gift from me. Um, everyone's going to be getting their minis, but one of the things I'm going to do is I'm also going to buy them all separately for myself to put them up. And I'm actually starting to design a little setup of the Crimson Talon Guild Hall. I'm slowly acquiring the pieces and like the town itself. So I'm hoping to get something actually set up as a little exhibit for my apartment. So
That'd
that
be
way,
cool.
yeah, I think it'd be kind of cute.
Send pictures.
I plan to. I'm gonna get a small, cause I do want to get the fuck, what was the name of I can't remember the name of the city, like Entrium or something like that. Set up
Make
in.
sure. Make sure behind it there's like a chalkboard and you have jotted down all the character deaths.
Oh yes.
It'll be good.
Oh, I plan. My other thing is one of the other things we're talking about doing is every character I've managed to kill, I'm gonna get a cheap version of them and have them kill destroy the mini in that way, and then have behind their
Oh
character sheet
yeah.
in
Burnt
like
to
in a
death,
frame.
Tikva.
Mhm.
Tikva's being burnt to
I'm
death
gonna be
even with fire
interested on
resistance.
seeing how you do that with Torin. Just poofed out of existence.
I mean, I'll just have a little like platform
Maybe no
there, and it'll
snap
say,
'em.
"Here lies the idiot."
Wait a minute, I have a way. Explosives.
No, I mean they don't really like explosives in your apartment.
Well, these don't have to be in your apartment.
I can't wait
Thank you,
to see
Julian.
Zaya get stabbed to death by a Dibus mini who's
Uh-huh.
like 2 feet or more shorter than her.
Yep.
Right through the heart.
Well, technically
That's
it was
got
through the
hops.
back. It just
I thought
happened
it was
to.
heart.
No,
Oh.
he
It was like
he
an
stabbed her
angle.
through the back, and it just went through. You can get stabbed in the back and go through your heart. It just has to pierce the
Yeah.
toughest part of the
I was
ribs.
about to say, you just gotta fucking
Angle
push
grip.
really hard.
I mean,
But push it
theoretically,
real
depending
good.
on where you're angling at, you could actually easily stab someone in the heart from the back. Because it's
Yeah.
gonna be
You have
easier.
to
Because then
thread
you
the
don't.
fucking needle.
Your body
Yeah.
didn't expect you to get backstabbed.
But you also, then you don't have to go through the lungs. It makes it easy. Kids, if you're watching this at home, don't take this advice.
No, don't.
Or
Do that.
do.
No, honestly, Cameron, it's gonna be harder to do Logger because he chose to just kind of curl up and die. So he's gonna be the harder one to do.
Fetal position.
Well,
Yep.
if you get a plastic one, you can technically just set him on a burner.
There is a
Get a-
Hero Forge pose where they're just laying dead on the ground.
That's probably what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do.
And then you just set him on the set
prone.
him on something hot for
Mhm.
a
Laying on
while.
the ground maybe needs to get poked with a stick, is what it says.
Yeah,
Which is
there we go.
funny to have a mini printed as because when they're laying on their stomach, you don't see a lot of their details, so it's just like,
Well,
twisted.
Well,
Oh
You
no,
know,
they
that
lay
what
on
you
their
can do
back.
with that is
yeah.
what you can do with that is just set him on a hot plate or a burner or something, and just let him melt away.
Yeah. No, I have plans. And each character sheet will be like the front of it will be emblazoned, onto a or it will be designed into a plaque. So I have plans. It's more gonna be slowly as I upgrade my apartment. So.
He has plans to replicate dead characters and plans to kill our characters still alive.
Oh, I don't have to plan for that. Most of the time, you guys do it yourselves. I just show up and write the
Yeah.
monster in.
I'm gonna shush now because it's time to start.
It is. We are 5 minutes over the clock. Thank you all for coming and joining. We are here again with Rejected Potential once more. Although, to be fair, are they truly rejected anymore? Do they have any potential? Last time we left off, what wasn't known, what was known, and what is still to be found out has yet to be discussed. However, we had a huge, massive break with Dibus arriving in the Tiefling lands with the party who managed to get themselves teleported out of the Yuan-Ti tunnels. Honestly, at this point, Cyrus is probably realizing, holy shit, we would have probably lived longer if we had stayed there. The party managed to get themselves teleported back to the Tiefling capital of the Raven Song, as it's known. Currently, having arrived there, Dibus showed up. Malthor and Captain Ricard Bennett Jr. managed to get themselves down into the tunnels and fight off a Beholder, as well as a couple Slods, some Illithids, some Ulithids. It was just a cluster in itself, and managed to get themselves killed after Dibus took off with their crap. Well, Malthor's crap. I forget what Captain Ricard was doing down there, to be honest.
I was trying to help get the Draco Blade.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then he regretted that almost immediately. Oh yes, and Malthor managed to intimidate a rat before getting his brains sucked out. Which to be fair, he wasn't using them, as him and Captain Ricard decided to take on the Beholder by themselves without any idea of truly their surroundings or what was going on. Meanwhile, Dibus got watched as Zaya got drunk. Zaya got extremely drunk, started hitting on Cyrus extremely hard, and didn't realize that her and Cyrus had gotten a mass. What the hell was the name of the spell? I'd have to pull it up. But basically, they got didn't realize that they were being manipulated by the Beholder to be drugged down there without them realizing it, as their minds still believed they were still in the room drinking. And then as they suddenly came out of it, as I was rolling in the background, because I thought it'd be funnier that way, and I had my player killer dice out, hoping that they would survive. Unfortunately, that player killer dice came back to bite poor Zaya in, well, normally I'd say in the ass, but really in the heart, as Dibus drove his knife right through her. Because of the fact that he knew what was going to be happening in the future. Something that Cyrus is still very much confused with. Now we come back to Malthor being laying unconscious, Captain Ricard having his throat slit, and Zaya Ravensong having been driven through the chest of. The party comes back to find themselves in the Beholder's chambers. The Beholder is now gone, alongside his little cohort of monsters. Sorry, Discord commentary's got me giggling here. We come back to Cyrus holding poor Zaya as she has given up her last breath, Malthor on the ground, unconscious, and Captain that no one cared about having his throat cut, apparently. As we come back, Cyrus, as you continue to hold the slowly cooling corpse, you start to hear coming down these stairs, or down into the smithy / dungeon, a bunch of metal clanging feet. You also hear commands, and you recognize Gull's voice almost immediately. That scared me. After a few moments, you see Gull coming through in his full purple armor, his troops behind him as they kind of surround you lot, and there stands Gull, looking at you, completely confused and at a loss. Hush, Malthor.
It was Dibus.
Gull just
He-
looks at
He
you.
killed her. And Captain. I think Malthor's okay. He's out, but I think he's alive.
Gall just kind of sighs. I'll let Tikva know. A new queen will be crowned within the fortnight. We'll have her body entombed as is proper for royals. The death ceremony will start tomorrow. And the war against the Tabaxi will start within the day after. If that bastard did it, his son's just as guilty. He just kind of looks you dead in the eyes. It's time the tieflings gain those lands back. And he snaps his fingers as Captain's body is picked up. One of the guards kind of comes up to you, waiting for you to kind of let him to take Zaya's corpse to be prepared.
Yeah, after a few moments, Cyrus does.
Okay. As the guard kind of gently picks her up, and a few of the other guards kind of come and help, just to make sure that her body is kept well preserved. And then Malthor is kind of, you see one of the guards just kind of grabs him and starts dragging. And Gall just looks to you and says, "So, what happened?"
I mean, Zaya knew Dibus more. We'd just met. He seems to be aligned with some god, but apparently now has changed sides. He was very powerful, though. I don't know if God had more influence on him somehow. Very powerful.
Gall nods.
Yeah, he tricked all of us somehow and ended up. I basically just recount the whole story. That kind of right at the end, where Dibus stabs and another creature, shadowy creature, sliced Captain's throat.
Including the drunk Zaya scene.
No, he would leave that out.
Alright. Gall just kind of looks at you. Continue to stand there, almost looking, for once in his life, not humorous. He kind of waits for a moment.
Quick
Yes.
question.
Mhm.
I had sent that I was going to look for the couple items that technically Cyrus did not know about. Before people came where we took Zaya up.
Mhm.
Did he have a chance to do that, and did he find anything?
Yeah, give me a moment. Hmm. um. Okay. That.
Second paragraph of the
Yeah, I see it.
handbook. That's the back.
Give me a sleight of hand check.
Okay. Roll high. Okay, 13.
You managed to get the wedding ring, but the book of songs is too obvious by the time the guards are in the room and
That's
like
fine.
looking, so you weren't able to grab that.
Perfect.
All right. Um, as kind of Gall looks you over, he goes, we'll hold a proper ceremony for her." And he looks kind of at Captain's corpse as it's being pulled off. What do you want to do about him?
What do you want to do about me?
I don't really know if he followed anything, if what his customs were. Some sort of a burial funeral.
Well,
I guess I don't know.
here in the
I was about to
Tiefling
say,
lands, we would entomb his body beside his queen to serve her in the afterlife.
I think that sounds fine.
Fair enough. I'll make sure to give him, and he pulls out a giant's thumb, his favorite.
Are you
I think
fucking
he'd
shit?
like that. As Cyrus actually kind of chuckles slightly and then stops right away.
Gall looks at you and says, "Take your time. The guards will take care of have the body delivered. I'll inform Tikva, and I'll begin to gather the troops."
So I did say last session that I did have or did grab the crown.
Mm-hmm.
I will keep that currently because I think Cyrus would probably hand it off to Tikva.
And I assume you'd keep it hidden so that way Gall wouldn't notice.
Yep, yeah, it was that was one of the first things was in my backpack.
Hey, Cyrus, what'd you get that cool looking crown on your head? It's so shiny.
Gall will just nod and kind of turn about face and head up, in kind of a sober and quiet moment.
I will let the guard take Zaya. I will go over to Malthor because I think we said he was unconscious, correctly? Correct. I will actually use the Zaya's bracelet to
Okay.
give him a simple cure wounds.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Malthor, you awaken to this room, assuming you're there. Malthor, hello.
I'm here. I'm thinking Malthor's gonna wake up, noticing first there's a weight on his chest, which is literally his chest. He's gonna look at Cyrus and go, "What happened?"
The others are dead. I couldn't. I
Malthor
tried to use the
pauses,
potion.
fist up.
It didn't work.
Malthor sits up, shooing the guard
devastated.
away and he's the one that I think stole my chest and used it as bait to piss me off and get me down here. I checked the chest to make sure the Draco Blade is still inside of it.
It is not.
And he stole the Draco Blade.
All was just here. The guards took their bodies.
Without the Draco Blade, I think I needed to get to that mountain faster and at least return Normac his own armor to maybe save him. But without the Draco Blade, things are going to get worse. Fast. And since I wasn't able to protect Zaya, I essentially have broken my oath. So I will have to repent for a while.
Yeah, I think we both need to do that.
We need to make sure that two things happen. Dibus as an adult, as a king, is no more. His people should not be blamed for the actions of one pitiful fool.
It's really powerful.
If he was powerful enough to make, and I motioned where the beholder was, that disappear, I don't doubt it. But we need to make sure that there is no backlash to, because an agreement was already struck with the rest of his kind by Zaya. It would not be right to go and attack them out of turn. They should be notified that if they do not do something about this, then they will be attacked.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to Gaul. And
Secondly,
kind of under Cyrus's breath, he's like, probably loud enough Malthor can hear, but I need to get that kind of power.
Malthor puts a hand on Cyrus's shoulder and stands up, lifting up the chest. We both need that kind of power. If I had the power to turn back the time, I wouldn't have come down here. I still would have been incredibly angry that someone stole the Draco Blade, stole my entire chest of items. We also should probably go and recruit someone to replace Captain, at least somewhat. They don't have to be as with the ship. We're gonna have to get the ship off his body and probably take any other items that might be useful to us.
Yeah.
And getting the
Yeah, we're
sword
gonna need.
back from
Yeah.
Zaya as well would probably do some good for somebody.
Yeah, we'll definitely need more than you and I.
We'll have to have Gaul put out. We also need to inform them that one of Zaya's last things was to name us as dukes of certain portions of the land. That way we can try and assist with the paperwork, lighten the load as it would be. So,
Yeah, nice.
seems like we have a plan of action. I should also probably rest, recuperate, and do the prayers I will need to be doing to try and refresh my oath. Until then, I probably can't heal as much, but I still have my cleric abilities. And I need to try pouring this unending anger that I now have, that I am holding in, because I realized what it can do if I let it consume me, into something. I may try an old trick that I saw. Malthor will stand up, make sure everything else other than the Draco Blade is in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
If it is, he'll take out his tools, drag it with. Oh, is the is the ship in the chest?
I don't believe so. No.
Last session, I shrunk the ship, and you said that you sent Chester to retrieve it, and then.
Oh, that's right.
have him come back.
You're correct.
Okay, so it's in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised by this because I had forgotten in my anger. I has passed the chest to Cyrus, and I'm going to simply say you should probably hold on to this. It seems like I had the chest. I had the ship.
Okay, yeah, he'll take it.
And then Malthor's going to take his forge equipment and just go out to the forge that's right out through the pathway and start praying and forging at the same time.
Okay.
Spending the next day without eating, only taking sips of water, repenting.
Okay. We'll come back to you in a moment. Yes, Cyrus?
So I was gonna say Cyrus would probably wait for a few moments and then head out. What time of day is it currently?
You have no idea being down here.
Okay. Once he gets up to the surface, he will kind of try to gauge time of day. If it's evening, he would just find somewhere to go to a room. If there's still day left, he would probably actually try to find Tikva.
Alright. As you start heading up, passing by Malthor, who you can hear is chanting something quietly, and hear the hammer of his hammer hammering away at the in the smithy. Coming up through the dungeons and slash smithy, you finally make it into what looks to be a little side hallway that you originally came down. And following that, you enter into the throne room, and there you see Gaul with what looks to be a very large table with a white sheet draped over it. You see Zaya's body laid out on it, from what you can tell, kind of slightly covered. The face is still able to be seen as two golden coins are placed on her eyes, alongside a magic stone of some sort. As you see, it kind of glows on her forehead. Beside her, you see Captain, who is been cleaned up. The wound looks to have been like sewed shut from what you can see, almost immediately. And you see Gaul standing there talking to what looks to be Tikva, explaining the situation. Beside him, you also see a very large human in simpler armor, You recognize, you don't recognize the man, but you do recognize the symbol of Raven's Song on his armor that has been imprinted, as Gaul is explaining to Tikva what you had told him, Cyrus.
He'll just walk up to the table and stand there until Gull is done talking with Tikva,
Okay.
then make his way over.
All right. As you kind of walk over, Gaul continues to explain to Tikva about the idea of fully invading the Tabaxi lands and enslaving every single Fellas that can be found, as this is the only righteous action for the death of one of their own, especially a queen, emperor, or empress, at the hands of the king's father.
I thought this Dibus fellow that she had told me of before was dead. Who brought him back? Stikfa's looking at Zaya's body. She's usually a very calm person. She's gained that, but you could see there's a very clear, angry fury in her eyes, and her long tail, spikeless but muscular, is lashing across the floor. Who brought him back?
Gaul just looks at her and kind of, with a lack of his usual smiliness, just kind of looks her dead in the eyes and just goes, "All I know is that one of our spies reported that he got a potion given to him, some potion of resurrection, and that's what brought Dibus back. I don't know who gave it to him. That's all our scouts have found. That they've also been finding out the Tabaxi are trying to figure out a way to reproduce this magic, but yet have failed and killed a few of their magicians, thankfully."
I see. So the king brought his father back. And then he might be another person we must worry of. And she'll kind of like glance up, same silver eyes as Zaya, kind of lock them on Cyrus, gesture him over. Cyrus, is what I'm hearing true of all of this?
As he walks up and as he's talking to her, he is not making eye contact. But yeah, he walks up, and yes, it seems to be yes. I couldn't save her.
As Tikva looks him over, is there any way she doesn't know him well, but can she
Nope.
tell what kind of state he's in? If he seems like he's emotionally capable of taking kind of harder questions, or if she should give him more time to mourn?
He is notably shaken, but he currently seems to kind of have his mind about him.
Okay.
You've suffered a great loss. This kingdom, this world. Me, you, Malfoy, we've all suffered a great loss. I'm going to need answers soon, but I think perhaps you do best resting. Use that rage for good things later, but if you push yourself too far now, I'm afraid you might become more of a burden.
Gaul just nods alongside and says, "I've hired someone, one of a new recruit from distant land. I think he's from your homeland." As he kind of pats the much larger human standing beside him, and goes, "This is a mercenary I've hired on for the time being. He was supposed to be a bodyguard to the queen. He'll serve your lot until otherwise noted." As he kind of pushes Fenrir forward.
Um, he would probably just give like a half-hearted wave.
Yeah, Cyrus would probably give a slight nod, and that's about it.
Doesn't really know how to address this whole situation. He kind of feels very awkward right now, being at the death table of two people he doesn't even fucking know.
As the continued situation goes on, Gaul just kind of pulls Tikva into back to the main room, heading back to her desk and starts unrolling a map and getting everything ready to figure out things, kind of ignoring Fenrir and Cyrus and the tinging from down below.
Yeah, Cyrus will just make his way to room wherever he was supposed to stay, or
Hmm
whatever his quarters are.
as he realizes he didn't have assigned quarters.
He knew where Zaya's room
He-
was.
he-
Yeah. Oh, too soon.
No, I don't think he would try to go there. If he didn't know, he would probably literally just find the first empty
Okay.
bedroom quarters type thing and stay there the rest of the night. And after a couple hours in the room, he would probably pull the trident out and attempt to start meditating kind of on it and Zaya
Okay.
a little bit.
Alright. Fenrir, I assume you're gonna take a position outside of the door that you see Cyrus go into.
Seeing as how he's the only one I've been introduced to be assigned with, then yeah, I would do so.
Okay. As we'll come back to you in a moment, Cyrus. Tikva, as you're standing there, kind of looking over the map as Gaul's explaining his plans for military action and the full invasion of the Tabaxi lands, walking through the points, the best points to the mountain range between the two kingdoms to enter. He's just kind of seems to be a little more distant than usual, and whereas happiness is typically almost contagious, Gaul seems almost sobered for once.
Oh, dear. And I think she'll put a hand out and like gently grasp his. What I said to Cyrus also applies to you. Are you all right?
He places the giant's thumb on the table and goes, "It was meant for him." And you see a wry
We've
smile.
she lightly smacks his arm, just sort of shaking her head at his usual antics, and she smiles, and then she sort of grows saddened as well. Do you trust them on their own? They've been out adventuring before, sure. I've seen them with Zaya, but without her, I'm worried. If I leave them alone, what might happen? I'd wish not to leave the kingdom, but I'm afraid of what they might do without some sort of guidance, grounding. I've yet to see the state Malthor's in, but Cyrus, he was so stoic, so put together. He doesn't anymore.
Gaul ponders for a moment. We know that technically you're next in succession. Our daughter would be first in line and would probably be set on the throne instead, given your own previous conditions. I recommend that you tag along with them as you have more experience traveling the world than I do. I'll act as regent and prepare the army for war. By the time you return, whatever quests they need done, we will be ready to march. I'll have the statues commissioned, of course, for Captain, and have him given to his lands. We'll have to see if he has an heir somewhere by chance. One can only hope. He'll be honored just like we will with Saya, as the feast will begin within a fortnight. But we must
Yes.
crown a successor before the people lose faith.
Yes, this is a moral weakening we did not need among the kingdom already. And she sort of runs her hands through her hair. She's probably very tired, baggy eyes, if I recall from hearing of her when I was Zaya. And she shakes her head. Has this news left the kingdom yet?
He shakes
Or
his head
spread to
no.
Tenham's troops? Good. I think it's best we keep it in control as much as possible. We were already a weakened kingdom. The last thing we need is people thinking we're an easy target.
He nods. More men are coming in left and right. We'll have a full fighting army by the end of the year. With Cyrus, Fenrir, Malthor on our side, we have decent enough troops. Officers are set. We should be able to destroy them. The bigger worry is, now that we've gained news that Zopip has joined with the Heli, no one knows what he's planning to do. and now we know that Dibus can apparently summon shadow creatures to kill things. I'm a little more concerned about that. I don't know. I think for now, the two things we need to focus on are building up the military and figuring out a way that, or something that can kill Dibus. And maybe Zopip if we're at it. We can't hear you, Maya. Yep, there she goes. Welcome back, Maya. Hello.
Where'd I cut out?
I didn't hear you at all.
Okay, okay. So what was the last part you did here, or that Gall said before?
Gaul basically told Tikva to head out and is planning to build up the military while Tikva and her group find something to kill Dibus and maybe Zopip now that they know that Zopip is allied with the Heli.
Yeah. I agree. This is a lot for the kingdom to take, but I suppose it's a burden we must bear, huh? I think we should think more on this, but it's a long night. I should go check on our daughter. This chaos is going to be much for her to handle at first. She's not used to death like we are. And she gives kind of a small smile. Do you mind? And she like nods towards the door.
He nods and turns around and heads out. And then you hear him shouting to the guards and throwing something very large at them.
I think Tikva looks down at the map, looks at all the markings on the Tabaxi lands, touches a dagger at her side, tail slowly lashing, and simply says to herself, "Maybe it's time the Silver Songs become Tabaxi slayers once more." And I think she steps out of the room and looks for her daughter.
Okay. Malthor, we come to you. As you continue to pray and hammer away, you find that your divine guidance doesn't seem to produce much. Everything you make seems to have a slight fracture or crack in it. Every prayer you state seems to be going unheard. You find yourself almost feeling forgotten at this point.
I will let out a sigh, but keep at it.
Okay.
Still working hard. Although, in my eyes, there will be a fire of rage that I've only felt twice before.
Okay.
And this time, I've lost more family. I'm forging something not to keep the peace. Something that should be used only 3 times to kill.
Okay. All right. Cyrus, as you continue, or as you start to focus in on your weapon and try and focus in on the memories, you see Zaya's face is already almost fading from every memory that the weapon has shown you already. And as you continue to meditate, your trident begins to speak a warning. I'm going to type the warning to you.
Okay.
Give me a moment. Okay, hopefully you're alright, man. Okay. And that's all it says before the voice goes quiet.
Okay.
And that's all it states to you as it seems to stop speaking altogether and goes quiet.
He'll continue meditating for a little bit and then he will attempt to sleep,
Okay.
but will probably not be able to.
Okay. Um, Fenrir, as you continue to stay stationed at the door, you hear the occasional guards speaking and joking and laughing with each other as you see Gaul walking about every once in a while trying to keep up spirits as a kind of somber mood has hit over the kingdom. As Gaul kind of walks up to you, he just hands you a quick flask. As you kind of open it and take a whiff, you smell a strong mead with a bit of spice to it. And as he kind of just walks off, he pats you on the shoulder and continues on his way. As we will come back to you in a bit while you try and let your brain relax. Tikva, as you enter into the room, into the royal heir's room, you see the room is designed well enough, simple but sweet. As your daughter cries in her crib, you see Chuck sitting there, having taken the name to heart. The one who claims to be the bastard of Zaya. However, you rarely believe this, as Chuck is not a truly proper tiefling name and not a name you could imagine your cousin ever giving. You see a picture of yourself, Zaya, Zarius, and your parents all together, happily standing and posing for what looks to be a still drawing, as hanging right above the crib, as little Zaya continues to cry.
Fuck, I've got it. She'll like walk up, kind of gently tap his shoulder. You can go. Well, I don't know what you'd like to do with your free time. It's just going to be a long night, I'm afraid. And Tikva's going to reach down and scoop up little Zaya and pat her back and cradle her and sit down. I'm assuming there's a chair or a
Hmm.
bedside somewhere she can settle and just sort of stare at the picture and contemplate.
Okay. As Chuck kind of nods your request for him to go off on his own, he kind of turns quietly and closes the door as quietly as possible as you hear a click. And you begin to reminisce slightly as you remember the drawing is one of the few times when you recall your family ever being semi-happy before the capital was stormed by the Rakshasa, before the decimation of the tiefling people, before the breaking of the family. You recall a small get-together in which all of the Silver Songs came together for a large feast. Many of the family members who had been abroad serving as diplomats or doing whatever jobs they were requested of had come home just specifically for this once in a lifetime get together. Your grandfather, you recall, smiling and cracking jokes at the table while drinks were poured left and right, and everything seemed happy as the roses were in bloom. And you recall that this picture was drawn up with magic by one of the local peasants who had a slight skill for it, who had offered to do so um, for the family, and just out of kindness. And Zaya encouraging you to join them as along with your own folks, as she wanted to make sure you were captured as well in this picture.
Simpler days, huh? I think Tikva will remove one hand from Zaya cradling and just sort of hold a hand out, flames flickering on her hand as she stares at the image of a younger Zaya, a happier Zaya, the one she remembered, the one that went by a different name. Oh, my dear, dear cousin, I will avenge you. I will not fail you, or this kingdom, or our family. And I think she settles the hand back on her daughter, sort of pulls her back, wipes the snot and tears from her face. Oh, my daughter, what simpler times it is. Back when I was younger. Hopefully, when you are older, you won't have to bear the weight we do. I'll make sure of it. And I think she's going to hum a song she recalls her father singing to her when she was younger. Hummed probably not as good as Zaya or her father by any means, but one with heart as she lulls her daughter back to sleep.
Would you care to sing it for the group or no?
Uh, it was one her father written. I don't have it written down.
Okay. As you begin to sing, the baby slowly kind of starts to nod off. Eventually, you can hear the quiet snores as you are continuing to cradle her. You see that you catch Gall's eyes as he's peering through the door crack, just slightly, knowing full well that if he wakes that child up, that he will be castrated for it. Uh,
Oh, definitely.
as he kind of quietly closes the door and turns and runs away as quickly as his feet can carry him, as you can hear the slight slaps of his feet on the floor. As the baby falls asleep in your arms, things begin to relax. The tensity kind of melts away slightly, and the realization comes that preparing for a funeral will be needed for the next few days. And thus, as everyone retires to their own rooms, minus Malthor, who continues working through the night on his smithy, the party somberly, and very few, begin to sleep. Fenrir finds himself a chair and sits down and continues to relax, and finally eventually lets the mead take him over as he falls asleep, standing with his or sitting in this chair with his whip just slightly out in case of anybody coming near, so that he will sense someone. Um, Cyrus tossing and turning all night or all through the night as the moon rises high and eventually sinks, nothing changing as he continues to recall everything that happened, trying to think of any way that he could have done something different. Yeah. Tikva retiring to her room, finding Gull in there crying for once in his life, his non-cheery self. Very upset about both the aspects of having to go to war and seeing so many more of his friends fall, but also at the same side realizing that this is a much needed thing to revenge their queen. As the party begins to kind of soberly wake up in the morning, Cyrus being the first up as he didn't sleep, feeling groggy and exhausted. Tikva taking a moment to avoid waking Gall, as he is always too cheery in the mornings. Malthor continuing to ting away at the smithy as the dragon's nostrils continue to flare with smoke as the furnace is lit up again and again. Fenrir awakening from his drunken stoop of sorts from the slight mead drink, and finding a small plate of food sat at his feet, as well as one sat at the door for Cyrus. A somber mood seems to have fallen over the kingdom overall, as the sun rises and a thick mist can almost be seen throughout the entirety of the lands, where you can barely see a few feet in front of your face, and the chill morning seems to hit every single citizen altogether. Some will cry that in the future that they saw a squid-like man walking about the mist. Some will say they saw a cat walking about with a knife at his hand, crying. Others will say that they saw Zopip himself, or maybe the High King. As the party comes together to join in the breakfast hall, or in the main hall for breakfast, alongside many of the other troops at Gall's request, the party is brought together, even Malthor, who is dragged up, against his will for the most part. And as the tables are set, Gall declares that the only way that this will be dealt with is as a happier occasion in honor of their queen, who brought this kingdom together, united it with happiness, and did all she could to protect those who needed it. And thus all shall eat, all shall feast in her honor. And as the feast begins, before the party is allowed or is able to go about their own business, they see that two small statues of Captain Ricard Bennett Jr. pulling the eye out of a beholder made of gold and shoving a thumb into it in his traditional form, as well as a statue of Zaya Ravensong, a small one, sitting upon her throne with a smile on her face and with a dead cat at her foot. That's fine. As the party is now able to take a moment to gather and share their thoughts and deeds, the DM is going to take a moment to go get his food. Be right back as I'm getting delivery.
You look about as well as I expected you all to look, if I'm being honest. Tikva's sort of picking at her food, but also eating it. I think
Malthor's pushed his plate away and is avoiding eye contact.
I know it's
Yeah.
too early to process things, but I wasn't informed well on my cousin in her later years. I know you guys all knew her better. If there's anything important, anything of note, anything I should know about her wishes or whatever's happening in this twisted world, I need to be informed.
That our
Cyrus
God's
again.
dying.
Yeah, Cyrus not making eye contact. And yeah, looking very horrible because he did not get a long rest.
Malthor didn't rest at all. He looks tired, but he's still going somehow.
Yeah, Cyrus will sort of looking towards Tikva. Basically will relay the dukedoms that Zaya had
And
talked
Malthor
about.
is going to relay that his god is dying, and the blade that was given to him by the priests of the temple that he was raised at is now missing. I assume Dibus probably stole it.
Well, we can send
As
word, have a lookout for it, but if Stibus guy took it, hearing of his power, it might
it's
not be able
something
to
that's
be retrieved.
inconsequential at this point. The blade itself is cracking. If it's used, it'll most likely shatter.
Let's
And
hope
as
it
it is
shatters and kills the bastard.
as it is was forged by a god and used the parts of dragons to make it, ancient ones, powerful ones, it has magic stored in it that will most likely rip and tear anything that it when it breaks within about a half-mile radius. It'd be a very impressive little bomb. But I need to head to the mountain, which my god is supposed to be at, and hope he's still alive. My oath was broken when I failed to protect Tikva. So I
Zaya.
cannot. I mean, Zaya, sorry. Too many similar names, damn it. Too many.
Similar, but keep going.
Zaya.
Not even
When
close.
I failed to protect Zaya. So I feel I should head there sooner. I may head there alone to try and
That
figure out
is
what's
not
wrong with him.
wise. You're not in the headspace to go alone. None of us are. I do
No, but I'm not in the
admit-
headspace to bury another piece of my family.
We should go together, Malthor.
I will be traveling with you now. I've talked to Gaul. It seems unwise to leave you guys alone. I'm sure you can take brutal honesty, at least on your end, Cyrus. You guys aren't in a good state to be saving any worlds right now. I'd appreciate if you could stay for the funeral rites of Zaya. If you can't, I can understand. I will need to deal with some things in the kingdom before I can, in good mind, head out towards the mountain. There's a lot left in ruin, you guys didn't get to see much of in your travels. I do wish to ask, because a mind wanders and angry minds want answers more than sober ones. How was this cat demon, brought back? I was told of a potion,
Malthor
something that
will
his son
look at
used.
Zaya, look Tikva in the eyes and say, I had shared a potion I had gained from traveling with the king of the Tabaxi lands to try and strengthen the resolve between them and the Tiefling lands. Had I ever foreseen this would happen, I would never have shared anything.
I trust you. That means his son might be as guilty as him, I hope you realize. Did this bastard, this little Dibis fellow, give any signs, warnings that he would do this? I was told he was Zaya's trusted companion. She had saved his life. Now I'm hearing news that
I
he stabbed her in the back, quite literally.
do not know. All I know is he killed my Blinkdog companion that I had summoned to steal my belongings. Cyrus probably had more time with him than I did.
Cyrus? She looks at you.
Saya and I, when we were in the Tabaxi lands, discovered him, or he was sort of following us when we went to look for do some shopping while we were in town. Yeah, that's actually a good question. If the paw print's still on Cyrus. Okay. He had seemed to be teasing Saya some about some of her things,
Escapades.
ventures that she did prior to us ever meeting her. Other than that, I mean, he seemed to be more of a nuisance at that point than a problem.
Hmm. This power of his, did you feel it back at the Tabaxi lands? It seems like such a quick thing. If he had had this power back when he was king, I assume I would have heard of it. This is, from what Galt said, you described godlike powers. This implies, well, a deal, a contract made, and that's worrisome.
Yeah, he was very powerful. He was able to, it seemed like, maybe fool us. Zai and I had been in her room. I was going to try to learn a spell from her, and then she had disappeared. I got a message that she was in a tavern where we had a encounter shortly before we left to go to the Tabaxi lands, and I ended up going and meeting her there. And honestly, we thought we were in that tavern and that we were having some drinks and talking. And then all of a sudden, we were back where
Well,
Gaul found us.
I don't mean to interrupt, but alone means he very well got her alone, and obviously whatever they discussed, none of us will know, but you said you were talking to her. Did she make mention of anything he said? Because whatever was said in that room when we were all gone could very well be the reason she was struck down.
I don't remember myself as a player, so I don't remember if you had said that.
Well, I know
Naya.
there was parts where Zaya was yelling
Naya was
at
Yeah.
ranting
Davis to
that
shut up.
he was supposed to be
and
the smart one.
Cer-
He should leave her to save the rest of the world. That
yeah,
others are
Yeah.
saying
Divis
the
was
same.
like, she was like, yeah, Divis said I can't like be with you, but I can't say no. There's also times where she in the link accidentally was yelling at Divis to shut up and that she was gonna kill him if he didn't shut up, but
Okay,
accidentally
yep.
said to Cyrus. So you've got that much, but what was actually said, only Zaya knew.
Okay. The only thing I know is that I got the feeling that it seemed like Dibus was threatening her.
Mm.
He'd actually also threatened me.
What he threaten you with? If we know his goals, his ambitions, we can stop him.
Zai and I were getting quite close, and apparently Dibus did not like that.
Yes, I can see a loss great in you, Cyrus. I have a feeling then something about you two has some interference with him or his god, which begs the question, what exactly were you guys doing? I mean, I know of a lot of tales of people getting in the way of gods and paying for it, but you and Zaya
There.
being in love,
Gall
interrupting
pipes
something
up.
so great.
He looks at Cyrus and goes, "You made a deal with Reyes, didn't you?
Race.
Reyes Plastes, a giant white dragon."
You've made a deal with a god? Tifa like rubs her brow.
Malthor
Ye-
face palmed at this
yeah.
information.
But I thought that that
Fenrir
was
drinks at this information.
sorry.
Mhm.
But I reached out to Titus. That I didn't. I thought that was. I don't.
Why would you reach out
It
to a
was
god
a.
at all?
We were in the middle of the Yuanti hive, and we were running out of magical resources and things like that very quickly.
Hmm.
I had worshipped or followed Titus when I was younger, and I guess I didn't know that that wasn't his form.
Gall
Is that how
smiles.
you that how you all got here suddenly? I was wondering how you appeared back at the
Apparently,
Tiefling
we were
lands.
teleported is all I know. Onto a slightly separate matter. I did forge a very powerful weapon for Zaya that if you're going to be joining us, you might as well take.
Hmm.
It should still be on her person. It is a rapier.
DM, for the Tiefling burial rituals, is it considered like crude, cruel, immoral to take things from the dead once they are dead?
Yeah. Typically, since it's very warrior society-esque, they're buried with their gear usually.
If it's truly going to help us
If
and
it's
help us avenge Zaya, I could consider it, but taking anything from her body now is immoral for us. The only thing we'll take now are her horns and her hair, for I'm sure she gestures to the bracelets, reasons you might have an inkling of now. They'll be used into things to carry on her legacy, but her items herself, it's would be a touchy subject for me to take, let alone use anything.
the reason I'm bringing it up is I forged it. I figured it may as well keep going on to try and defend the kingdom. Like an heirloom sword. Something of the like.
Think of it, if it's not directly related to our family, I think it'd make it a bit more touchy for me to take such things. Perhaps if she had something on her that I could share the claim on, like an actual family heirloom, but I wasn't aware of such things, although I admit you guys never did stop by often, nor conversed with me.
Cyrus
And
mentions or speaks up. Zaya was a Raven Song. Are you a Raven Song or a Silver Song?
It is, in essence, both the family drama. I'm not sure what she told you of. We are of the same blood, and in my eye, we are the same. Our family had drama. I take the name Silver Song, but it comes with its ups and downs. Raven Song are simply Silver Song with a new name. She was really, in my mind, the only real Raven Song. The rest of her family that split off, degenerates, failures. She was, in my mind, and should be in yours, the only real Raven Song.
You should know then that the loot she carries appeared to be a Silver Song heirloom.
That was where I was about to go next.
Is Tikva aware, DM, of any heirloom and loot or anything in the family?
There was still of it as a legendary item, but it's been lost for a long time since the first Tabaxi Wars. So much of the description wouldn't be
When-
well known.
When Zaya got it, it was written on a box that Tikva had sent it to her. Is that the case, or
Nope.
was that a lie?
That was a lie.
That was a blatant lie.
When did she get this? A fairly that was lost to history, lost to the ages. That's like a
It
legendary
was found on the
artifact.
ship. That's all we know.
We discovered it on our way to the Tabaxi lands. I had
Maurice
identified it
suspicious.
and yeah, learned of its, I suppose, of its heritage.
Well, I'm no loot user. I'm afraid, although my father was a bard, I didn't carry on his musical capabilities. That was Zaya's talent, whether or not her parents liked it. And she kind of glares at her plate at the mention of her aunt and uncle. She probably should have that buried with her, unless it really
I'd
might be something of note.
Just you keep it somewhere else, as crypts and whatnot are easier to break into than, say, a vault. And who knows, maybe your heir will want to use it.
I suppose we haven't gauged our daughter's affinity yet. I'll look into it. There's still much to be done for the funeral rites.
I'm gonna, until you all are ready to leave, after this little party, I'll be spending my time down at that forge. Until I have repented.
I did have a question. I was informed by, of course, Gaul. There was something about a beholder to be had. Obviously,
There
I
was
heard news of it below, but what exactly about this beast played a role?
When I had my entire chest of belongings stolen, which is now sitting down there beside the forge, I went into a frenzy and started looking for Dibus or someone who might have stolen it. I was pointed down there, and I ran down there with Captain, and we ran into the Beholder. As well as the Rat King, which I scared the crap out of happily, because I was not thinking straight. If anyone's to be blamed for his death, at least I take that blame.
For the rat or Captain Ricard?
Captain.
Okay.
I don't blame myself for the rat's death.
Had to ask, gotta make sure.
Does Tikva know what the Rat King is?
Actually, yes, she does, because she was there when Grim Legacy heard about it from Greg. So, and about how the Rat King managed to kill an entire group or party of adventurers and enslaved one of them.
If
So
this Rat King and the Beholder are taking residence, I feel, and she looks over
they
at Gaul. She
are
says
no
this.
longer there.
That must be Dibus is doing.
They seem to teleport away.
There was also Illithids.
Bender's head goes back to hanging low.
And many other aberrations and the like down there. I believe that hole where we came through and went through should be sealed.
I cut out. Sorry, what happened?
Malthor says that Malthor said there was also Illithids and other of the similar types of creatures.
There was, last I heard, a lich of some kind beneath the manor. He was powerful. He would have been useful now in our time of need. Where has he gone?
Last we knew of, he was in the Tabaxi lands and apparently somehow related to Captain. I don't know.
From my understanding, he was Captain's father. Estranged father.
I guess there's a lot I don't know about you all. And then I suppose if he's gone, he's gone. We should consider our losses there.
If
Are you shit? Sorry.
if anything else is needed to be asked of me, you may. I make no promises on what I can and cannot do right now.
I ask you, do what needs to be done. I ask you to take whatever guilt or anger you have and save it. I think for all of us here, maybe besides, of course, Fenrir, that we might share a common goal, or at the very least, a common ally who has fallen today. We need whatever we can get, whatever little advantage we can grab, and as I said to Cyrus last night, if I lose one of you to guilt or anger or any sort of mourning, then we will be at risk of failing Zaya and everyone else even
There is
more.
no need to worry about that. I've been thinking, as we were warned, there is a Tarrasque coming.
How long?
We were told a
A
year by
year.
Tenom.
Godborn a Tarrasque. This world really does be damned sometimes.
But I do have an idea. Cyrus may be able to assist with this, but if we can rip open a portion of the plane and force the Tarrasque either through it or attract it through, we could divert the major portion of their force, as this will be an invasion force using Tarrasque.
I've heard, of course, news, but it seems you all somehow have heard more news than I have. There's a god war. Is this before or after this Tarrasque?
During is my guess.
Somewhere in the near future.
And Gaul sheeps
Mhm.
away at this point, trying to hide his head. Like, I'm not here, you
Oh.
don't see me.
You should really inform your wife more.
Gal?
Yes,
She
honey.
looks over at him.
Uh-oh.
When I
He hides behind
agreed to
Fenrir.
help be regent, and she's like leaning around to look at him, and help, of course, rule this kingdom. I did so willingly, very willingly. I did, I believe, tell you when this first happened, honey, my dear, my love Gaul, if anything should go on that I do not hear of while I am stuck in the manor doing paperwork, please keep me informed. Was that not a request?
Gaul's
Her
just
tail is
like
lashing
trying.
again.
Gaul continues to try and hide behind Fenrir as best as he
Thor
can.
reaches over, since he's sitting next to Fenrir, and pulls him out gently.
Fucker, I will stab you with a thumb. Leave me alone.
Throw my cloak on top of him.
Malthor just pats his back and says, "It's okay. We're not upset, just disappointed."
I suppose then I will do a better job.
Malthor, you feel a
at
thumb in your
being
ass suddenly.
I look at Gaul, look at Zaya, and say, "You know,
You mean
I was
Tikva?
being nice. I mean, yeah, Tikva. I was being nice."
Gaul looks at Tikva and goes, "If you'll get the ugly one here to put me down."
Malthor, please relinquish
I
my
set him
husband.
down. I wasn't holding him. I just dragged him out. I wasn't holding him against his will. I said I pulled him out.
I will shove a
From
thumb
behind.
up your ass when you're sleeping. Yes,
I won't be sleeping for a while now.
There's a work coming. Heli have been spotted. They're still preparing. They're currently apparently at war with the Nords. That's all I hear.
The
As
Nords.
far as else I know is that they're planning to invade Dragon's Gate, and Zilpip has allied with them. And we are researching to find where
right.
Zilpip is.
Yes.
If you
he's-
find that little bastard, let me know.
Well,
I owe him
He's
too.
also on the list.
That's why I hired, as he taps Fenrir on the shoulder, that's why I hired this man, because he is our lead monster hunter, and nothing says monster like a small gnome that could nuke your planet.
Well, since you
Malthor looks at
clearly
Fenrir
are-
and says, "Once I get my forging back, I will make you a blade that can split the skies."
Gaul, since you clearly
At this,
know
Fenrir just
more,
laughs.
what of these Nords are we able to ally with them? If they know of the Helio or can hold them off, they'll be of much use to us, I'd imagine.
Just starts chuckling. Hold them off. Yeah, no. We'd need an entire army of spellcasters to hold these bastards off. Cyrus is a Nord. He knows the fact that the Helli are one of the most advanced species of his period. Apparently, they even cut down the dragons themselves when the dragons enslaved everyone.
A Nord. And Tikva leans over kind of with interest. So you are from the New World then, huh? Suppose you did seem a bit off.
As
Yes.
Fenrir just slams his whip on the table.
No. Places.
Malthor looks at it. "Oh, you don't use a sword. All right then."
Captain was also from the New World. We came here together.
I use my sword when necessary. Otherwise, I use this.
Yes,
Versatile.
Malthor, I don't know if you were informed, Fenrir will be traveling with us, of course.
I
I s-
was not, but this is good to know. If it comes down to it, I might try my hand at making you a newer whip, something more powerful.
I'd be rather impressed at that.
If
right.
My lady, I do have
Hmm.
my old breastplate that you are more than happy to if you are in need of armor.
Yes, I will need equipped. I, of course, have trained, and thanks to Gaul and, of course, his teaching, I've gotten better at battle, but I've not had to lift a blade or really leave the manor in quite some time. I was sort of here doing paperwork and such while you guys went off. I'll need to get equipped and perhaps sharpen my skills so I'm not a burden.
Oh
what
no.
what is that?
Gull just kind
What
of.
is that?
What? The Simpson thing?
No. Something I just noticed in my character sheet.
Okay.
I get a 1d10 of force damage to arrows. What the fuck?
Gaul just at the mention of equipping and training again, kind of even hides away further behind Fenrir.
Gaul, what else?
Huh? No, I don't feel like being a testing dummy again. Last time I still have the marks on my ass.
But dear, I barely hit you. And there's a little bit of a wry grin as she leans forward. Have you look at me? I'm so small and frail. How could I ever hurt anyone?
Fenrir pushes the whip closer to Tikva.
No, the whip. I haven't wielded a whip before.
No.
She, like-
No.
she picks it up and kind of feels it in her hand.
Gull runs. Gull is gone.
Good. I'll catch up to him later. Fenrir, I trust for you to keep me informed on his whereabouts as she hands the whip back to him. Right, and she does a big smile.
I place the whip back on my belt. Sorry, I'm still laughing at that kid.
Discord chat's making people laugh.
Yeah, I'm not quite used to Gaul.
Discord
actually,
is
so I'm
not
trying to keep it shade.
doing what it should be doing.
Yes, ma'am, madam,
Wonderful.
miss.
And she'll lean back. What? DM, I'm assuming there's stuff to be done. What will Tikva have to exactly handle regarding like the funeral rites and everything? Because I'm not sure as the new queen if she has stuff she has to
She
do.
wouldn't handle it. No, typically most noble families have a mortician of sorts on hire,
Okay.
and that would be taken care of.
I was informed, of course, of the dukedoms and everything. I have to ask, because I guess I'm a little bit more concerned with things. Are you all really willing to, well, I guess the two of you really willing to take on dukedoms? I mean, from what I saw of you and Zaya in the past, you were more interested in leaving the kingdom than staying here, and it's definitely not easy work. I don't wish to set you or the kingdom up for failure.
Malthor will look at Zaya this time. Look at Tikva. God damn. Look at Tikva or at least in her direction, probably still staring more at the table, and say, once we're done traveling, once this war is gone and done, and everything is safe, I have no problem settling down in these lands, as long as I'm allowed to share the worship of my god with no troubles.
If you wish to serve a god, I have to admit I am not too keen on them, most of them.
Mine is an old one, and one that time seems to have forgotten for the most part, but he never asks for much. He's a god of the forge. Not always the friendliest person, not always the friendliest god, but
If
not
I've
always
learned
the worst
anything,
choice.
it's the kind and fine people, the good people, gods, people, rulers, tend to die first. I think that's why me and Zaya both hardened over time. If your god was too kind, he would have been killed, but from the sounds of it, he's dying anyway, so I suppose that means he's probably better than most.
Oh,
And
he's a
also,
hard ass. He's the one who forged I pat my plate armor. This armor,
the one
it's
you need to see at the mountain.
yes.
Well then, I suppose the problem is the kingdom's in a mess now, and I don't want to bore you or burden you with everything with the kingdom. I took that responsibility when you guys left, and I was willing to do it. I cannot leave in good conscience or simply give you the dukedom if we're going to be gone. I will need to find others. Cyrus, you were given one as well by Zaya, and I'm sure she trusted you a lot as well. What are your thoughts on this?
I guess I was on the understanding that there would be kind of equivalent of a regent to take care of things until we were able to focus on it in the future, because I would also be willing to
That could
stay
both
here.
be arranged. The problem
I
is
may have
finding.
yeah, I may have to travel back to my homelands briefly, but then I would come back here
The
once
problem is
everything's dealt with.
finding people. Of course, I know you, and I
Does it
don't know much
need to
about
be
you,
a
but I
person,
trust you. I would assume so. I'm still
or does it just
unfamiliar
need to
to
be
ruling.
intelligent enough to handle everything?
I would assume having you as dukes in the Tiefling lands might already push it a bit. Having something non-humanoid or not of, I guess, our makeup might upset the people further, and I really, really do not want the people frustrated or burdened more. I was, unlike Saya, lucky enough to not have to deal with my nobility at a young age, so I am learning now, but when it comes to us two, we both seemed, I guess, a little uneducated on this whole thing.
Um, well, I do have a few. Any smiths I would be willing to appoint as a regent over a dukedom, over where I'd be given charge of. She wanted me over the dukedom that handled most of the smithing, anyways, and the mining. So
Yes, I believe that is the.
south.
Yes, I believe it is. You would be correct. The South. I'm guessing she gave the
Captain was
one.
to be
Yes,
for fishing,
yes.
and
We have. Well,
I was
as an
the
island, we have a lot of fishing, but
and I was the old capital. That's, I guess,
the
starting to
Central
be rebuilt.
Dukedom.
Yes.
Yes, I heard that's where you all met, correct? I mean, when I last saw Zaya, she was going down there
yes,
to
and
get a
apparently
crown
that's
and a stone for our grandfather, and she puts up quotations. I knew it was a Rakshasa, although I was never able to inform her. Um,
Yes,
confirm she.
that's where we did run across each other, and
that's where they
Venzoran.
met, anyways. I met them shortly after, and heard stories of a elf named Ven that sacrificed himself to save her.
Yes, Venge. Other. There was Ven with
And
her and
there was a
other
story
people.
floating around with her that he had named her son something ridiculous, but
Was it Chuck?
I'm not sure. I didn't hear much on the
I
stories,
have
but
been informed, and he's in the castle, of course, that Saya somehow had a son, but I've been critical because Saya never seemed one to settle down, at least as of right now. She
from
was always a bit more rambunctious than I. So is that her son for sure? Her
from the
blood
rumors
son?
I've heard, it was an experiment of Zilpip with time taking a fetus she had and aging it faster.
Well, I've
I
heard
spent time hunting him,
that.
so I can say he would probably have done this without a second thought. If you really
Well,
wish to test him and there's no way to do it magically, you could always try asking him who named him.
maybe. I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be. Still, Pip, my daughter, of course, was sped along with Time Metric. I couldn't be out of commission for long while pregnant with her. I'm sure that's something you noticed. Cyrus, of course, I believe Saya probably trusted you the most, if not one of the most. Did she ever make mention of a son? I'm afraid once we met as adults, she never really took the time to chat and catch up with me.
He did not directly, but that day that I told you about where we were shopping and I first met, I guess it's Dibba's senior.
Hmm.
He had mentioned something about it, and I'm blanking on the name right now. I'm trying to find it because I know he mentioned
Mm.
the great uncle's name.
Blenton.
Blenton, yeah.
Blenton the Bloodied.
Yeah. Something about a Blenton.
Well, there
Um,
are a lot of Blentons, I'll
Blenton
have
the
to admit.
Bloody.
yes, Blenton the Bloodied. Um,
That's odd. He's been dead for probably centuries. Was there a new Blenton the Bloodied, perhaps? It's a common name, I have to admit. My grandfather, our grandfather, was named Blenton himself.
that I don't know. I know that she had mentioned he was extremely old. I think
Yeah.
that's right. I don't remember what she said.
She
I'm
couldn't tell
trying.
you much because she didn't want to
No.
talk about it much. So
Yeah.
it sucks that I do not have the full picture with everything, but probably going to have to rely on your word. There's no one else's I can rely on, I suppose. What are your plans now? Obviously, Malthor, you need to see to your god, and there's this whole Tarask and God War, but what else now?
After that, I do need to make sure I find Silverthread. He needs to pay for crimes too that he committed at my home, and I have to at least take him back there. And I need to kill Zilpip.
Well, a lot of people want Silpip dead.
He is part of the reason why I ended up where I ended up. So
Well, once we are powerful enough to take on Dibus and take on Zilpip, I can assure you if I'm alive by then, I will be there to offer my aid. They're
I
on
will
my
make no
list
promise
now.
on protecting you right now, as I don't think I even have the power to do that.
I am, of course, unfamiliar to the battlefield, but I have been an adventurer once, under the Crimson Town Greg, and she like spits the name with a bit of venom. I was an adventurer once. I've died, and I've
Until I
been
was
brought
shot
back.
in the knee. Sorry.
Uh,
Would the name Greg ring a bell with Malthor at all?
Oh yeah, Greg's a
he was
very
in the
well
meeting with
known.
Tenem.
Yeah,
He
and
was the one
Greg's
who came in
famous
and
famous.
told
dwarf?
Saya she had to get married,
The
and then
famous
left.
dwarf?
Yes, he was
I'm the one
a
that came
leader
here
of the
to
guild.
tell Zaya that she had to wed Tenem's. That one?
Yes, yes.
Odd.
Which good
I never.
news on that front. I'm not sure what's all going on, but she looks over to Cyrus as she says this. But you know, on the bright side, now that she's dead, I think the wedding's been called off. That's usually how marriage works in the Tiefling lands. Death usually equals divorce.
You hear
There's
Gull in
not
the
much good
background.
news,
Is that why
but
she keeps trying to kill me?
Tikva just like puts a finger up to her mouth as if to like silence them, and then just smiles politely. I would never.
I taste the poison. All right, you know that. God damn, it's like the man
It
trying to
could
get
be
rid of.
she just wants more thumbs.
You know, actually, she's the one who keeps giving me these thumbs. I still haven't figured out where she's getting them, and that's concerning.
Here, now that he's back, can
Oh
I have
shit!
your whip?
And Gull turns and runs.
Once he's gone, yeah. Once he's gone, Tikva will lean to Rose and be like,
I hand
"Do
Tikva
not
a
mind."
javelin when he
She
comes
like
back.
shakes her head. Do not mind my husband. Means well if he's a bit of an idiot. He is trying to lighten the mood.
I find him entertaining. He's lifting my spirits bit by
Very
bit.
much. He is a good man. He's probably one of the best options I could have gotten for a husband.
I'd
Even if he
honestly
wasn't
say, though,
my
you should
first
probably throw a
choice.
chicken at him. It will
Don't
confuse him
throw the
and be
cock at
hilarious.
me!
And
Again!
that is why.
I think I'll take relationship matters into my own hand. I appreciate the advice, but I know Gaul best. She gives a little bit of a sly grin, but then of course like shrugs it off into her calm usual demeanor. I think we need to get a plan made. Obviously, things are happening now with the kingdom and the Tabaxi lands. We have to get you and your god thing sorted out. And I suppose prepare for war. We're going to need allies, not just allies
Will
for
say that
Kenem,
I am
but for
not
us.
the most acquainted with going to war with people that you've made an agreement with already, as that did manage to happen. Zaya did
Well,
sign the
if
agreement
I'm
with.
being honest, Dibis agreed to help Zaya out because she saved his life, and you saw where that got her.
I won't argue against that, but I'd say give them a chance to show where their faith
Well,
lies.
to be fair, it wasn't a Tabaxi that wronged her, it was a Fellis. But if you're not willing to go to war with them, that is your choice, and I will respect you for that. But I, as a queen now, and her cousin, I have to look into things like this. Letting them get off the hook without anything makes us appear weak, and
Oh, I am not suggesting you let them off free. I am saying you offer them a chance to choose a side. Dibis or you.
Maybe
Ooh, that's no longer on the crown.
I
On the
agree.
throne.
We should speak with Dibus Jr., who's the current king.
is it safe to go back there since Dibis somehow got here and killed Zaya in
No, you
her
would
very
want to
own
have
manner?
him come here.
That's what I was
And if you
thinking.
need a receiving party, I think there'd be no one better than Cyrus and I, since he would recognize us and not feel uneasy about traveling with us for any distance.
Well, if news of Zaya's death and her murderer goes to the Tabaxi lands, I feel he should be nervous for good reason, since he's the one who presumably brought his father back, which again, I have to emphasize, whatever plot his father is being a pawn for, he might as very well be a pawn for as well, so whether or not you made an agreement with him, I would not put your trust in him. At least
I
not
trust
fully.
no one anymore at this point, other than my friends and my
Good.
family. Which, right now, my family is those at the temple that I left behind, and then Malthor points at Cyrus and says, and that man there. And the two that have passed.
For what it's
There's-
worth, Dibus the Jr., the current king, was gracious enough to give me a family heirloom that I did
As
not know
well as
existed.
he was in preference of dealing with Zaya, as she was his godmother. And he had
I
seen
will then take
So-
into consideration his graciousness and hospitality. But I am not one to want to offer second chances to anyone I don't have to. That's
I
just my
agree.
stance on it.
Don't
Good.
fucking call me out right now.
I
Now
think
then, I believe I should head back
Yes.
into that forge that I was at and continue my penance and my repenting. And
yes,
I wish you all a good day. Mouthler
of
takes a sip
course.
of water before he leaves and heads back down, back to
And-
tinging and praying.
I'm not sure what you have planned, Cyrus, but I guess any other information that crosses your mind I could use. If not, you mentioned needing help with your magic. I could offer my assistance in that regard. Otherwise, me, Fenrir, and Gull, I suppose, should see me that I get
Huh?
outfitted for battle. Yes, dear, what? I need more weapons in practice, of course. If you're not willing to play a dummy, you could perhaps talk to one of your men. I mean, whoever's willing.
Not
She looks over
again,
at
no.
the table of like the soldiers that are
Could
probably
ask
They're
nearby
gone.
feasting.
The
Oh.
soldiers
Should have asked
left.
Malthor. The
Yep.
moment you mentioned training, they ran.
Yep. Fenrir, you've been such
You're
a
not
loyal,
sleeping
loyal
with Fenrir.
man.
Shut up. Let's go.
At least
I
if you
might
get
need
your
that
ass
whip,
kicked, go soldiers from somewhere. At least if you get your ass kicked, she can kiss it and make it better.
And at that
Tell
moment,
them.
that soldier realized he was dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Yep.
gonna say Tick was gonna gut him. No, so I suppose take it easy, and Cyrus, you especially. I'm sure this loss means a lot, as I am meant a lot. I just ask you prepare, as we all do.
Oh.
Fenrir, come on. And on a serious note, I do need to be prepared and outfitted. And she like
Also-
stands up.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say she just stands up and like puts aside the food she did eat off her plate and just gets ready to leave.
Also, Cyrus, avoid hammers and rope. Gull says as he turns and leaves.
Is he a fucking fortune cookie now?
Thank you, my lady. Again, like I said, if I don't know what your capabilities are, if I have a spare breastplate that you may use
Well, I
if that
should be able
works.
to use it if you're willing to give it up.
Yes. I wouldn't have it with me right now. Let's see. It'd probably be back in my room. So I have it in my
Can you
room
just think about
currently.
you? Can't you just order someone to give you some armor?
And Tikva is silent to Fenrir's comment.
No,
Yeah.
Tikva's
Did you
kind of looking
even
off
hear what
towards
I
where
said?
she heard the voice. I didn't really hear it that well, but right now she's also just sort of slightly glaring in the direction she heard Gull, and she's like, I wonder how far this ice knife can go. I've yet to test the range on it. As she summons an, like, not an ice.
There,
she
there was a
summons
there
magic
was
in her
a
hand.
a javelin left up there for Tikva, if she so chose.
Yeah, that's what Tikva thought. And she like dismisses the magic in her hand, which wasn't even an ice knife, it was a cantrip, but Gal doesn't know that.
Gull is gone, naked, and hiding.
I
Oh,
will
call a dragging sound of a javelin on stone,
no.
slowly becoming a horror film.
And listen, Tikva's a sun deer, and Gull is an idiot. It's a match.
Breaking down a door. Here's Tikva.
I have repressed emotions to let out.
Oh
Gull,
God.
get on the dash bed.
Tikva is going to go get equipment for battle, and she's also going to make sure her daughter is taken care of and give Gall a good talking to. That when he has the time, he should probably look out for their daughter because being raised without a father figure is going to make her turn out not right.
I mean, it did wonders for Zaya.
Oh no, it did wonders to me IRL. so, so that's what she's handling right now, as well as whatever other preparations need done. She will want to try to see if she can find Zaya's body, both because of the hair and horns to be dealt with, but also to look at this supposed loot, family heirloom, and
Okay.
whatever else. Not necessarily
And
take
the
it,
sword.
but she'll want to look into it for consideration.
All right. As the party goes about their business, Gaul eventually waits till everyone leaves, grabbing Tikva and then barring the doors to allow Tikva to look over the body and see if there are any heirlooms that she would like to take with her. That way, that they won't be bothered. And just stands at the door, kind of holding it to make sure no one comes through.
Okay, so what about the loot does Tikva get from inspecting it? Just looking at its magic capabilities, does it seem like something she could make use of, or is it more just a bard thing?
Give me a moment.
Okay, and I guess whatever other items wasn't
The
looted
sword
from
that I brought up.
Zaya, yeah, or anything that could be of use to save of hers that seems personal.
Mhm.
Anything like
Um,
that.
So, as you look it over, you realize that this what item, it is a simple bardic, uh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Instrument.
Instrument. Yes, there we go. It is a lute with 8 strings that she recognizes as they're pretty famous. Each of them being from different tieflings who've used this item. It could be used. It could be of a benefit. She wouldn't necessarily have to play it. And she realizes to gain its attunement. Um, the only requirement, as she recognizes, is that this weapon is of the House of Silversong, so only a Silversong can use it.
All right, and considering this would be useful, if not for Tikva, but for her daughter or whoever else down the line, would it seem worth it to take it, considering, the respects usually paid to the dead?
I mean, given that no one's in the room, and Gaul's not exactly the type to judge or talk about that
Care?
kind of stuff,
Yeah.
mostly because he's terrified of his wife. Um,
For good
Like
reason.
every man should be.
no, that's not a healthy relationship, Cameron. I'll teach you
Yeah.
what that is later. We'll talk about that, buddy.
No, you
Um,
won't. No, you won't.
Yeah, sadly I'm gonna have to. Anyways, so taking this item, no one would probably notice, as it's kind of stationed off the
Mhm.
side. It's not something that's very notable as it is, so
Mhm.
yeah, you could take it.
Then I think Tikva will take it. If
Okay.
just to keep something that seems important out of the crypt and tomb, because assumingly that'll be sealed and well guarded and not touched, unless of course someone could break in.
Mm-mm.
She will take that. Is there anything else? I know Zaya had like the Wand of Winter. I don't think Tikva will see the need to take that, but
Mm-mm. Yeah, she wouldn't see an item like
is
that
it
as
nothing
value.
else?
Mm-mm.
No, it's just a Wand of Winter that's best left with the dead. And I think Cyrus already took like the ring that might have seemed important of her own hair, because of course, obviously, hair holds a value.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's nothing else, I think,
Sword that Malthor mentioned.
yeah, what is that sword? It's mentioned something about elven blood. I don't know what
Yep.
Tikva knows of her. Yeah, roots. What does the sword seem like?
As you look at it, this weapon is something of a family or of your family line. However, there's no one in your family that's ever been mentioned to have elvish blood.
Mm. Okay. When like Tikva holds in her hands, does it seem like it connects at all with her, or if
Nope.
it's not of use to her? Nope. Okay. So if the sword doesn't seem to be of use, then Tikva will leave that with Zaya. Gosh darn it.
Okay.
Um. Obviously that's good. There was mention that Cyrus couldn't get the songbook earlier. If Tikva sees it and knows these are Zaya's written songs and presumably something you'll want published or preserved, will she be able to take that?
As Tikva looks over, there is no book.
Okay. So that was taken already. Probably would a mortician for this spot those things and set them aside?
Most likely, the Tikva would guess that most likely this was taken to the library and locked away within the family's personal.
Yep. Okay, then that's taken care of. I think has Zaya's horns and hair already been taken to be used?
Yep.
Then I think she'll just sort of
You also notice that Captain's hair has
gently.
been shaved, as well. His ears have been cut off completely.
Mhm.
The tail has been torn off.
Good. I think she'll just sort of look at her cousin, gently grasp. I guess I don't know how her Zaya's hands are positioned, if they're in like a resting spot or not.
Yes. They are basically at her chest, holding Elf's Edge.
Yep. Yep. She'll just gently touch it, feel the cold flesh there, and whisper in Infernal just another promise to her cousin to right the wrongs to her and her friends.
Okay.
And
Gaul
then
continues
she'll
to stay silent.
turn over to Gaul. Yep. She'll walk over to Gaul, gently touch his shoulder and be like, all's been done. I'm ready to leave.
He nods and opens the doors as he barks out at orders as the guards start walking away.
Alright, she'll go to find Chuck, and presumably, if he's the one looking after her daughter so far, besides Gaul, she'll put him in charge for that while she's gone as well.
Okay. Fenrir, I assume you're just following Cyrus around no matter what? Yes? No? Maybe so?
Yep, pretty much.
You have
Okay.
a shadow, Cyrus.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yep.
I said yes.
Okay. Alright, Cyrus. As the
yes.
as breakfast is broken up and Malthor returns to his forge for the time being, you head off out of the room. You see the doors are locked behind you as well as every other guest as Fenrir continues to follow you around. What would you like to do?
Um, he would probably aimlessly wander for about an hour, and then he would seek out to see if there is any sort of semi-official library here,
Okay. All right. As
and then
you.
make his way there.
All right. After a few moments of or a little bit of walking about the castle, you hear Fenrir just kind of being kind of grumbly in the background behind you as he continues to follow you everywhere you go. Eventually managing to go out through a side servants door, you see a very large, newly established, black, sort of marble-like materialed building that seems to have many pillars with depictions of different people on them carved into them, and you see that above it in. Can you read Infernal, Cyrus? Or can you speak Infernal?
No, I cannot.
I think he needs a translator.
And I don't assume Fenrir speaks Infernal.
You'd have to go get Malthor or Tikva because we both speak
Can
it.
you hear me?
Yeah, sometimes if you actually talk.
Now.
I have been talking. I don't know why you guys can't hear me that well. But yes, he speaks Infernal and Abyssal and Celestial.
Alright, perfect. Give me a moment. Alright, there we go. As you see, this giant marble building, Cyrus, you can't make anything of the symbols designed on it in golden inlay. To Fenrir, it reads library.
Like at this point, I don't think
Am
Cyrus
I
even
aware
pays
that he's trying to
attention.
find a library?
He probably hasn't said it out loud, and he probably hasn't even registered what your name is yet. So he just kind of looks back. It's like, can you read that?
Library.
Thank you. And he just keeps walking in.
The new comedic duo.
Noble
Rose.
attitude.
Yep. Heading off in that general direction, Cyrus, alongside with Fenrir still behind you, as Fenrir looks longingly at a little bar that's right next door to the library. You manage to go up. As you climb the large staircase, Cyrus, going through the doors, you see a little young man or young male tiefling sitting at the desk with massive things of bookshelves going farther and farther down, loaded with books in different colors, shapes, and sizes. And the kid just kind of looks at you and starts speaking in Infernal almost immediately, asking you what you're here for.
Um, yeah, Cyrus will just say in common, I don't understand. Do you speak
Am I
common?
close enough to Cyrus to see this?
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right next to him. You can hear this.
I will come up to Cyrus then and just translate for him. Test, mic check.
Yeah, we heard you.
Yeah, yep, we heard you.
Okay.
Did the boy respond to my asking if he knows common?
He doesn't seem to speak common as he looked confused at you.
I will. I know that Fenrir just translated, but he will first try Abyssal and then Celestial. Same thing.
Neither seems to catch on to the boy.
Okay. He turns to Fenrir. I apologize. You've been following me around all day. I've been mostly out of it. I do not remember your name.
It's Fenrir, and the child is talking to you in Infernal.
That would be why I do not understand him. You seem to speak it, Fenrir.
It's been a while since I've spoken it, but I'm sure I'll be fine.
Could you ask him where the section is on basically the gods and the pantheon?
I relay this to the small kid.
The boy looks at you and goes and starts kind of walking down one of the aisleways immediately. Kind of moving rather quickly as he it seems excited about the whole situation.
Yeah, Cyrus just follows him.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll just follow the kid.
Alright, as you guys head to the back of the library, he points up to a bunch of this massive bookshelf that somewhat ornate with a simple ashen colored wood, books in different shapes and sizes. Some you can read, some you can't, Cyrus. Fenrir recognizes almost every single book as far as the language goes. And the boy speaks again in Infernal, looking to Fenrir now, realizing what's going on, and goes, what pantheon?
The child wants to know which pantheon.
I don't remember which other god you said, DM. That was the white
Ray,
dragon.
it's Ray Plastes.
Ray Plastes. I will ask for Ray Plastes. I have to write that down now so I remember.
So Fenrir is very knowledgeable about history. Would he know about this god?
He's never heard of this god. Even if you rolled a crit confirmed, it wouldn't matter.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I relay the god's name as I don't want to butcher it.
The kid kind of looks at you and it's kind of a confused look as he kind of raises an eyebrow and then looks at you and goes, "That's not a god."
I looked at Fenrir to see what he said.
It's not.
Does Fenrir say that in
before I relay, I just say it's not.
In Infernal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
The kid looks at you and goes, "No, I've never even heard of that name."
I turn to Cyrus. Doesn't know who that is.
Okay, then. Would Cyrus know what avatars of gods are? At least the concept of them.
Some gods take different
Says it's
shapes.
not a god.
Yeah, it depends on the gods. Typically, in your home country, most of the gods would are depicted as like looking like their traditional Nordic looks. They're human.
Yeah.
Most of the other gods, besides like the three pillars, and like the like very old ancient gods that few rarely exist anymore, actually take on any form other than the mortals that they were typically.
Okay, so he would have a concept of an avatar, basically,
No,
or that
most.
there can be avatars. No.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
it's not likely.
Okay. Okay. Then he would look to Fenrir to ask the child, um, is there any way for gods to imbue more magic into a mortal? Or something along those, basically trying to,
I relayed the information.
yeah.
The kid kind of
'Cause
looks
he-
at you, contemplating for a second. And repeats back in Infernal. Giving magic to another is not divine. Typically, it's more powerful magical user. The 12 Lords were known to do that on occasion to the champions who served them. They would give a small portion, but that kind of magic has been lost to history. Say again, Fenrir?
I thank the kid and relay that to Cyrus.
Okay. All right, Cyrus. Are you writing that down?
Probably.
I was gonna say he's gone quiet, so I'm concerned. He's probably typing something to me. No? Cyrus, are you
Cyrus, you
still
alright,
there?
mate?
You still there? Oh, there we go. Hi. Welcome back.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Discord's having issues.
Fucking apparently.
Mm-hmm. Server got boosted and then it's just broken.
Oh, there. Now I might be back. Apparently
Welcome back.
Discord didn't want me to be in.
Yeah,
I
no.
can't hear him.
No, I can hear Cyrus now. Jacob, can you hear
You
all of
can't hear
us?
me.
I mean, I can hear you. Hold on.
Testing.
Yeah, I
Nope.
can
Yeah,
I can
there
hear you,
go.
Cyrus.
Now can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Cyrus.
Sweet.
Okay.
So question for you, because I don't know if this exists in your world.
Mm-hmm.
Do magical tattoos
Yes.
exist? Okay. He will then see if there's anything he can find on magical tattoos. So again, the relay to the boy. And
I assume
At this
Fenrir.
point, Fenrir
Oh.
is just a freak.
Yeah, he's a translator. This is part of being a guard. That's what he gets paid for.
Yeah, I'm getting paid for this, so yeah, I'm just gonna translate for the both of them.
Alright, the boy looks at you and goes, magical ink is very rare and very rare to find a skilled craftsman of it. More the New World would have craftsmen, as your magic, as he looks at Cyrus, is fairly different than ours.
yeah, then Cyrus will get that as a translation.
Poor Fenrir.
He says, yeah, he will say thank you in common.
Okay.
That's
Boy.
fine.
Boy just
yeah,
nods.
Then head out.
All right. As you
As
two
we're
head
walking out, I will thank Fenrir for translating.
Fenrir,
He just
there you
gives
go.
a simple shrug. No,
Uh-huh.
not like a fuck off kind of shrug. More like I don't really care. Like it's my job,
I'm getting paid for this bullshit.
pretty much.
You could tell me to go scrub a toilet right now and I wouldn't care.
No, I didn't care about that.
If he can't beat it with his whip, what's the fun?
Yeah, other than that, I think
You
Cyrus
must
would
open
probably head back to wherever he tried to sleep last night and spend the rest of the day attempting to pour through the Cyrus Jr.'s journal
Okay.
to see if there's anything along the Ray Plasties or anything mentioned White Dragon.
Okay.
Not expecting to necessarily find anything, but that's just what his mindset is now.
Okay. We'll come back to you in a moment. Malthor,
Yes.
you are continuing to ping away at the smith, right?
Yep, I'm staying there, repenting,
Okay.
not eating, and barely drinking.
We will come back to you then. Fenrir, is there anything special that you want to get up to, or are you going to continue to act like bodyguard mode? Just to confirm.
Well, if Cyrus isn't gonna be doing anything crazy, and he's just gonna be taking it easy,
Mm-hmm.
he's probably going to just be studying any bestiaries to learn about the Tiefling land.
Okay. As Cyrus kind of retreats to his quarters, Fenrir actually coming in this time sees a book that's legitimately reads Tiefling Bestiary.
Hippo Sharks is the first entry.
Gives us a good smile and a chuckle, like, huh, that was easy. And
And
he just
yes,
goes and studies it.
as the first one he opens to is Pimple Sharks and as he reads through them, the first thing he notes is that these things can cause leprosy if they bite you. So might want to write that one down in case you want to go fishing.
He writes that down in his own bestiary that he came
Okay. All right.
because he's got his own monster list, and he learns their strengths and weaknesses.
Oh. Maya, we're coming to you for a moment. I assume you're still there?
Yeah.
Okay. As everyone's off doing their own thing, Zaya suddenly finds herself awakening in what looks to be a long pathway with many others in front of her and many more behind her. Way far in front is a giant scale that seems to tip one way or the other every few moments as a flash of light seems to come from that area, as the person standing before them seems to vanish. Underneath the pathway, or to the other side of it, she just sees a deep hole, where on occasion she hears growling, fighting, and the death of others. Zaya has no idea where she is. But as she continues to stand there, moving up in the line, as time continues on. No, Ven's gone through already. Actually, Ven hasn't gone through at all because his soul's still stuck on Silencia. Zaya sees two figures that catch her eye. First, the person standing in front of her, who seems to be a very short, long gray beard that's very thick around the shoulders and kind of seems to be very familiar to her, walking with a very strange stone-like cane. And then the figure that stands behind her seems to be a very young maiden who seems to be somewhat angry looking as she is wearing her cloak of what looks to be some sort of a skin of a creature that looks far too large for her. This woman seems to be of dwarven features as you get a good look at her face, and just generally seems upset. Both catch Zaya's attention. Which does Zaya turn to first?
Does she get any sort of sense of their personality or powers when looking them over? Zaya's usually pretty good at inciting people.
You're welcome to insight both.
Yep, let me pull up Zaya's character sheet. Time for that insight. Alright. Alright. You said both of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll do the first one on the dwarf because he's in front. If it'll load.
Give it a
Avray,
minute.
hello?
Server's lagging like no other.
Avery, you can't be Zaya. She's dead. What? Error for.
Here, let's see.
Should I roll my IRL dice?
I think Avery's turned off right now, yeah. So feel free.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, let me roll that then.
I'll go check the server, see if Avery's down.
Yeah. Yep, it's not working on our end.
10 total for the dwarven fellow in front. Or presumably dwarf?
He seems to be extremely powerful. You get a strange sense of his aura.
Natural 20 plus 6 for the lady behind me.
She seems as equally powerful as the man in front of you.
I think, considering Zaya's history with dwarven men, she's gonna turn to the maiden behind her, the one with the anger in her eyes. I'm assuming probably
Doesn't
related.
seem to be down. I'll try it on a different server that I have
And
it on.
ask, where am I? What is going on?
The woman kind of looks at you for a second, kind of a deep glare, and goes, "Not even a name. Wow. You tieflings sure haven't gotten much better over the centuries."
I'm sorry, I'm not in the mood for introductions right now. I was stabbed through the heart. I was at the tiefling. Where am I?
Dead?
What's happening?
God, you're not bright, are you, poor girl? You're dead. Congrats, you're here at Judgment. That scale's gonna weigh your good versus your bad deeds, and it's gonna decide whether you go and stay with Hemescus himself, or rise above to stand with Kelfel at the cloudy nougat center of this afterlife. You hear the dwarf in front of you giggling at that.
The how does it judge good and bad?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be standing here now, would I?
I suppose not. I'm sorry. You were right. I was a bit rude. I'm Saya Ravensong. Who might you be?
You may call me Brenya,
Renya.
or in your more modern tongue, the High Queen.
Oh. I'm assuming Saya knows who that is.
No, not really. I mean, there's been rumors that this
Oh.
woman, historically, Zaya knows of a woman that was married to the High King, who basically created the psionic dwarves, which I'm forgetting the name of off the top of my head.
Greg's.
Basically, yeah, Greg's race.
Oh, great.
And that supposedly she re-arrived and started conquering all from the mortal plane. Had started conquering all of what is the Duergar lands in Spain.
Mm. Ah, I
Mm.
see. It is nice to meet you. She'll turn towards the man in front of her. He
I
seemed to
wouldn't
laugh,
do
presumably.
that. Hmm.
Oh,
She looks at you as you're
oh,
starting to turn and says, "I wouldn't do that."
why? She pauses, though, listening.
Well, you have an option. Me and him are here to fight for your soul, or you can choose the third path as she points towards the scale. You've got a choice. Side with me, or side with him. I'll be honest, being his ex-wife, I can not really recommend you on a siding with the guy who killed his ex-wife, actually both his ex-wives. Well,
So,
technically he banished me, but same thing.
so it's the High King then.
Who else would look like an old crotchety dwarf that smells of ale?
I mean, isn't
Shut
that
up.
what all dwarves aspire to be?
I
Pigeon,
will.
Pigeon. What's the deal? What's the price? What's the cost if I take any of your sides? There's always
Simple.
something.
What you get is you become a minor god. What you lose is you can't become mortal once more. Unless one of us dies, and you have to serve under our pantheon for the great war that's coming. As you hear again, the male dwarf in front of you continues to chuckle.
And what's the cost of being a god under your pantheon?
You'll have to fight him, as she points to the man in front of you, and all those who serve him.
I can't become mortal again. Then I'm assuming I can never contact those I care about, mortals, ever again.
No, you contact mortals as much as you'd like. You may walk amongst them if you so wish. If they find, but as far as it goes, everyone will know of your divinity, and you may be hunted for it by those who would like to steal it.
What? This doesn't make any sense. What would I even be a minor god of? How would I know? What would I do with that power?
It depends on who you choose to side with.
Then can I not hear what he has to say? What he's trying to offer me?
He is
He,
offering you the same thing. The only thing is that he will not give you any more information, just like I will not. Thus is the code of those who are the high gods.
of course, I should have expected such. I think Zaya's gonna not look at the door, but she'll glance up at the scales, looking around, just considering everything, and she's going to try. Probably won't work, but when she was immortal, she could get visions from the future. And I think with such a tough decision put before her, she's trying to call upon those premonitions, those abilities of hers to see what would happen if she were to take either side or just become a god in general.
Okay, as you begin to try and focus, as you close your eyes and begin to relax and clear your mind, you just hear the voice. It's not gonna work, sweetheart. You're already dead. You need to make your own decisions from here on out. My gift will not save you any longer.
Whose voice?
That was the High Queen, from what you can tell.
Your gift. You were the one granting me these visions then.
Yes and no. I was hoping you would take care of a few problems for me. I did poke and prod you towards the right direction. It seemed to work. Although the boy you fell for, you could have done better. He still needs to get a lot more magic before he becomes worthy of anyone. But not a bad choice. You didn't choose Zilpip. I'm proud of you on that one. Also, I don't ever
Zaya,
recommend cat pirates. She kind of turns and you can see Captain Ricard way at the back of the line.
I think Zaya relaxed a little bit knowing he's here though, but then I think glances back at the scales, a little bit nervous. What does she know of what, at least in her culture, race, is considered good and bad, and how might she play on those scales? Because in her mind, she's not gonna weigh good, but I also think she's trying to consider.
It depends on what the scales are weighing towards. She has no idea. There's no stories of this. It's just told that, it was made with use of a horn of one of the gods that she doesn't recall the story of, and that he built the scales to help judge those good deeds and bad.
Okay. Um, was Zaya thinking back, of course, as her life is immortal in the world? Obviously, there's the potions. If she's here, she's assuming it's failed. What else does she know of being able to bring people back from the dead, and how easy or hard that might be? She knows Tikva was raised.
True Resurrection is about the highest you're gonna get, except for a wish spell, and wish is about the only thing that probably won't be undone.
Okay, and she knows both of these are probably near impossible to get.
Wish is a very rare spell to find. Most magicians can't cast it, and don't ever end up getting to the level where it actually is effective. The only other option is, Zaya would have heard that the time fuckers, as they're called, managed to revive Hemescus by pulling his soul out of Moors. By accident, of course, but
Okay. I think Zaya's gonna look back at the High Queen. Um, how long do I have to before I have to choose?
Mm, 345 years?
That's how long before the war begins or before my soul is judged?
Before your soul is judged. It might be expedite. It depends on the situation. Of course, if people are revived, if people choose to jump, as she looks down at the black holes on either side, kind of depends. But as far as the God War, that'll be in the next year or two. You'll have
Mm.
moved maybe 4 steps forward.
And if I become a minor god now, it'll happen instantly.
You'll be brought to the headquarters of whoever pantheon you should choose. And there's not just ours, but we are the most powerful vying ones. You aren't the only soul we're interested, nor will you probably be the only soul that we chase. I thought about offering the one back there, Ricard Bennett Jr., to become a Tabaxi god, just as a joke. Plus, it really pissed him off if he found out his father's debating on trying to resurrect him as another lich. Anyways, as I was saying, you would be given your powers, you would be given your titles, and you would take time to grow your divinity as followers were slowly acquainted to you, and you gained more of a following and more uniqueness. As a minor god, you'll start out just as that, a source of divinity, but with no divine virtue of sorts, or sin, if you, depending on your point of view. As time goes on, you'll develop one. If you make it to any of the higher positions, you'll keep that divinity, but you may gain another, or you may gain gods below you that will serve you. Myself and the High King, the asshole that he is, are the only type of gods that go on without a virtue. When you get to our chair, you lose your virtue and take over as a more head of the divine. You take care of those who are divine. You recruit those who are worthy. And your soul specifically was gained for the heartbreak yet continuous drive that you showed in life, which is very rare to see amongst adventurers.
If I become a god and I fail, you said I can't die, but I've been told there are gods dying or will be dying in this war.
Gods can be
I just
killed by gods. As far as dying goes, it's not the same terminology as you mortals understand it. Those who die, she does in air quotes, means that they've lost their divinity and become mortal once more, to which they can be killed.
if I join you, I to serve you, I'm to help you. Am I also able to do things of my own accord and my own goals?
So long as they align with mine, I will not stop you, nor would any high god.
And what are all your goals?
To kill him, as she points at the dwarf in front of you, him and all those who serve with him, to become the number one and the only pantheon of this world, to defeat the forgotten gods, the three pillars, the Church of Adventurers, and the Church of Ability. All the churches of the world will bow either to my throne or be cut down. The world has become too full of gods, and really, truly, full of too many separate pantheons.
Speaking of, you, I'm sure, would know what of these New World gods? Where do they fall in all of this? Or the people from the New World?
Independent factions for the most part. They will serve on of their own will and will create their own side during the war. Although the Helly have been trying to wipe them all out, and to be fair, they're more likely to do it. They are already beginning to summon a Trask. The Trask will be here. She looks up for a second, like she's counting in her head. 1 to 2 months.
That we were told a year.
Yep, and it will, as it's predestined to, destroy all of the Tiefling lands and kill everyone there. Probably smash Dragon's Gate, if I'm guessing correctly. And that will be the start of the full-scale war. Tautler will fully invade the mainlands of the Holy Dwarven Empire. The Storming Empire will set sail to attack. The Heli will have wiped out and taken over their island and enslaved all those, as well as invade what's left of the Tiefling lands and enslave those who are left. Your cousin's got a terrible fate guaranteed to her, and so does your ex-lover.
Ex-lover.
Yes, one known as Galadron. His
Right.
life is already guaranteed to be a complicated one.
He told me before that he had offered himself to a god to keep us alive. Where
Mm,
does
not
his
a
god
god.
fall in all of this? It's
Well,
not.
no, it's Zilpip of House Kungpa. I believe you're familiar. It's his portrayal as Ray Plastes or something along those lines. He's not an actual god, he just grants divinity to those who serve him. Only the gods know, unfortunately. Him, Gaul, and Dibus, I believe. No, Dibus refused his offer. Oh, Bridlin Meadmancer, that was the other one. They all serve him as his subservients. They don't realize it yet. They made deals with them in exchange. Tikva gained her revival because of Gaul's willingness. Bridlin, well, he gained his freedom from my ex-husband there. And yes, Cyrus was given full, more power than he could ever know to do with, and he has no idea that he's even been given more now that he's prayed for it. He will be indebted, and he will fight on the Heli side when the war comes. And he will probably cut down Malthor from the fate we expect. Fenrir will, well, the new servant of your friends, will be cut down by a great dragon, one that should be revived to defeat the Church of Abilities, or was it? Uh, I do not know anymore. It doesn't matter.
Them. Will they fall against us, against you?
Cyrus and your friends?
Yes.
Zilpip will die at my hands, most likely. I can't guarantee it as his fate is no longer guaranteed. Cyrus, he will be killed, well, at your hands, unfortunately. Or he will kill you. Depends on what the
If I,
future holds.
if I become a god, this is guaranteed.
It's guaranteed whether you become a god or don't. If you don't, you're more likely to die. If you do, you're more likely to be able to cut him down. Now the time is nigh. It is soon that you need to make your decision. I do not have time for peasants and those of non-ability, so make your choice. Do you choose to go with one of us, or should you choose to stay the path, or choose to jump off?
What does jumping off do? As she
Hmm.
like glances at the edge, kind
Uh,
of.
it's a dark pit, and all you hear screams, the roaring of monsters, and the snapping of bones. And she looks at you, looks down, and smiles and goes, "That is the pit. I believe someone called it a pit of despair by one of you mortal philosophers, but basically, you go down there and you are fully immortal. You will live forever. Forever to be tormented and killed and fight and killed and fight and be killed by bigger and badder beasts, people, and any others who would choose to go down there. It used to be home to a great holy order from the Age of Chaos, but no longer as they were freed, along with a majority of the beasts that laid there. One of them, I believe you almost faced as a mortal, a great rust dragon that had decided to hide out inside the Yuan-Ti tunnels. You were very fortunate that your lover decided to push that away, or teleport you lot from it, because you would have surely all died.
I, and as I was thinking, does she feel that just judging based off everything that what this woman says is true, that she's telling her the complete truth and
Yeah,
not manipulating her to make her choose?
it doesn't. I mean, there's no reason this woman would have a reason to lie to you, as she doesn't seem to have any interest in you, truthfully.
Does Zaya think if she ever became a god and had to face Cyrus or anyone else, that she would be able to stop herself from killing them?
Well, you never heard of gods being forced to do anything. just that gods are cut down by higher or gods above them that are there. In a sense, the hierarchy works is if you don't do as you're told, you are killed.
Okay. Which being killed for gods just means becoming mortal, huh?
Nope. In this case, if another god cuts you down, your soul will vanish and you will be deleted from
Okay.
history.
All right. Thinks I looks for one again at the scales in the long, long line. Takes a look back at Captain. As unfortunate as his death was, thinks back about her conversation with Cyrus and what he said about choosing their own fate and their own future and changing things. And she looks to the woman with determination in her eyes and says, I'll join you.
She nods, and immediately Zaya finds herself in the Duragar deep tunnels and catacombs, sitting in a simple chair made of what looks to be raven bones, as you see about 8 other women sitting around this giant tomb, along with the High Queen in her dwarven glory, sitting there holding her husband's hammer in her hand, or a version of it, as she begins to address her daughters and Zaya, indoctrinating Zaya into her daughter's, or the position of one of her daughters. We come back to Captain Ricard Bennett Jr., assuming he is there.
He is.
Alright. As he is standing at this long line, recognizing his old pirate captain, the one he learned from way up ahead in the line, he sees an old dwarven man kind of walking over at the black pit. Just walking towards him with a crutch and smiling with a very toothy grin of deep yellow teeth, cracked and broken. And almost the strong smell of booze emanating off this man. Cameron, fuck off. The man, the old man just walks up to you and he looks at you and goes, "All right, Sonny. Your friend chose her path. What do you choose? I imagine you heard most of that."
How far behind the line was I?
Only about 50 people.
Are you sure I'd be able to hear that?
I mean, this place echoes. It's dead silent for the most part.
Oh, okay. So it's the High King offering shit to me now?
It looks like it. I mean, you don't recognize. You have never met the High King in flesh. The only version you've ever met was him as Bridlin.
Oh, question.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have my own cutlasses on me?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me happy.
Yeah, you have your normal gear. You just don't have your hammer. You don't have your ferret, and you don't have your cat ears or cat tail.
Fucking good.
Get the strange feeling if you end up in Moors, though. That's what you'll be stuck with for the rest of your immortal soul.
If I end up where?
In Moors.
Where's Moors?
Well, just hope that scale goes in your favor. Malthor, shut up.
Oh boy.
The old man just looks at you and goes, "Time to choose, Sonny. I'm too lazy to deal with this. You'll become a god of sea and have a position, although I will request you go kill a kraken for me."
Am I gonna have to fight Zaya?
Yeah, and you'll kill her if I ask you to.
Or what of my old friends?
You'll kill them too if they decide to side against me. But you will get to kill Zilpip.
Does me smacking you across the face with a hammer ring a bell? Did you hear that question?
Yeah, I heard it. He looks and he goes, yeah, I recall that. You hit Bridlin, Meadmancer. Poor boy. He did not deserve that. Great mead maker. Truly great. Not very bright, but kind boy.
Well, don't take the bodies of kind people next time. Then.
Probably true, but then where
So
would be
what?
the
I
fun?
side with you. I become a god. And
Yep.
then what?
You do as I tell you, and you serve where I tell you to. Think of it as a captain to an admiral.
And what happens if I say no?
You stay in this line. 360 years later, you'll be judged. Maybe less, maybe more, depending on. Some people get wished back, some get resurrected. Some poor bastards decide to jump after too long of a wait. You will get to watch the Great God War, as it'll be plastered all over the clouds as he points up above you. There'll be a large video screening of it. You'll see a full scrying of the situation. So you can celebrate while you wait for your inevitable doom. I can honestly
Video
tell you, you're
screen?
going to Moors. Say again? Did I cut out?
No, no.
Okay.
You said a video screen.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So what's a video screen?
No, that's why I corrected myself, saying it was a as if scrying.
Ah. A kraken? You said?
Mm-hmm. One that's already killed you a few times.
Oh shit. Fine.
He puts out his hand and says, "Feel free, boy."
I go to shake it.
He pulls and throws you straight down into the black pit below with a cackle and vanishes. And all you hear is, "Shouldn't have killed me, you little shit!"
I draw swords and get ready for a fun fight.
And that's where Captain spends the end of his days.
Maybe he'll escape and become immortal and all powerful.
Could. He wouldn't be the first.
Oh, I'm immortal.
Stares at Hemethus angrily.
No, he's not in
I
Moors.
don't mind.
He is in what is called Limbo. This is a realm where the Holy Order of the Beast.
How low can you go?
Ricard will be happy to fight
Mario,
with the
you're
swords
gonna
again.
get us all killed. Please stop.
You know that Rust Dragon I had? Cyrus, how's your spells doing? Do you still have spell slots? Cause I don't imagine you do.
As far as I know, I do.
Oh, you do still? Well, okay, I'll make sure to exhaust those here in a little bit.
Well, I've got some, but yeah, not many from not having long rusted
Yeah,
guns.
same. I'm not doing the greatest either on those.
Tikva to be revived and then killed by a Rust Dragon. How unfortunate. You'll get to see your friends again.
Wow. Will I get offered to become a goddess again in the same session?
Nope.
Wow.
No, none of the gods like you enough, honestly.
Ticker doesn't like the gods, so that works. Neither
All
does
right.
Zaya, but Zaya's an opportunist.
As Captain begins his duel for the rest of eternity, the rest of the party coming back to the mortal plane clocks in for the day, going about their tasks. And the DM ends the session here, as this is going to be the major turning point he has planned for next session, in which a couple of things are going to happen. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this session. I will see you next time. We will probably be seeing more longer sessions coming up on the 25th of October, so look forward to that. That is going to probably be a 3 to 4 hour session. So look forward to that coming up. Thank you all, and we will see you next time. My mouse is
Follow
working.
us. Subscribe
Yes.
to the DM, scrubs.
So yeah, subscribe. Come check me out.